My girlfriend loves watching spicy dancers, but she's kept it a secret from me for years.
Hold me closer, spicy dancer.
I, 28 male, and Jen, 26 female, have been dating exclusively for 2 years and living together for 6 months. We live in the college town where we both earned our computer science degrees, but we didn't know each other in college. Jen is the classic cute nerd who loves playing video games and is a huge fan of Doctor Who. Love it. By the way, this comes from TA Nerd Girl Malaru Review on the OK Storytime subreddit. So Jen has a good college friend, Amber, with whom she goes out with maybe once every 4 to 6 weeks. Usually it's something low-key like a movie or dinner and drinks. Many times it's during the week, not the weekend. I have never thought anything of it because I've never had a reason to. Plus, sometimes Jen comes home really corny and wants to have spicy sleep as soon as she stumbles through the door. Is she under the influence?
Oh, she probably like just seeing those men. I need some now.
But other times she texts me to say she's going to crash at Amber's place. A few nights ago, Jen and Amber had a girls' night. She told me they were going to see a late movie and maybe grab some drinks after. Jen came home around 11 p.m., tipsy but not wasted, and basically jumps me in bed. We went at it until she fell asleep around 1 a.m. Dang. When I went to turn her light off, I noticed a pop-up on her phone with a QR code ticket pass to something called Men in Motion. I Googled it. It's a traveling show with male spicy dancers that travels around the country and puts on male spicy shows. And yes, the ticket was for a show tonight. Jen and I don't have an open phone policy, but I know her password and I was more than curious. I checked her app ticket history and it looks like she's gone to a lot of these shows. I also looked at her photos and found a folder with over hundreds of pictures of her with spicy dancers wearing not a lot of clothing. I'm struggling with the idea that Jen enjoys watching hot, spicy men dance and has been hiding it from me. I feel inadequate and uneasy about the situation. Although there's no evidence she cheated, there have been 2 nights she didn't come home that matched the dates of the show. Yeah, I have a good memory. It makes me wonder if something more is going on. I've always trusted Jen and I don't want to accuse her of anything without evidence. However, this whole situation is making me uneasy. How do I bring this up to her without making her feel like I don't trust her? And how do I deal with the nagging feeling that even more may have happened? Would I be the a-hole if I confronted her about this? And there is an update. Update 1. First, thank you all for the comments. It really helped me get my head on straight and realize I've been gaslighting myself. The shock of knowing my nerdy Jen was regularly watching male spicy dancers, along with low-key feelings of inadequacy. I'm okay looking, but I'm not ripped. Blinded me to the fact that the active deception on her part was the bigger issue. Anyhow, here's an update on what's happened. I knew I had to talk to Jen. At home Thursday evening, I told her I saw the ticket on her phone the night of the show and asked her why she lied to me that she was going to the movies. She was initially taken aback and defensive, but eventually apologized for not being upfront. She said that she and Amber just considered it a fun and even silly girls' night activity. Jen admitted she kept it quiet from me because she wasn't sure how I would react and didn't want to make things awkward between us by even asking. It was just something fun and naughty. She admitted that this was not her first time attending a show like this, but she couldn't remember how many times in the past. Jen also said something I never thought of, that she felt safe going to these shows, as it was an all-woman environment, compared to bars and clubs where guys get wasted and hit on women. She reassured me that these shows were just to have fun and not about any dissatisfaction with our relationship. She said at least 3 times that she finds me attractive and was very satisfied with our spicy sleep life. She even said it would help me process things that she and I could go together to a club with female dancers. Neither of us have ever been to a spicy club with female dancers, but thought it would be similar, and I could see for myself that it was just naughty fun and we could experience it together. After a couple of hours of talking, she grabbed my hand and took me up to the bedroom to assure me that I am still the hottest man in her life.
Oh, yeah, dude. You put that magic mic. I'll do one of those dances them girls did.
Oh, nice.
Put that on her.
That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's more, but just pausing really quick. I think that is sweet. However, the fact that she lied to you needs to be, like, she can't just get away with, oh, well, I didn't know how you would react. No, she actively withheld information. The act of going to the spicy clubs is not like a problem if both partners are, aware of that.
Yeah,
and,
are
chill.
cool with it. It is sus.
So yeah, I think that's messed up that she was keeping that.
Let's say they get over this. I still think the relationship's good.
I think they could get through this for sure, but I think she just needs to be like, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have kept that a secret. Like actively saying, actively working to get trust back and stuff.
I think that they're firsts. That's why she did this. They're each other's firsts.
Oh, first. Okay.
So she doesn't know, like, I see other men.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to communicate that.
Next day, I was satisfied with her explanation. Jen didn't tell me how many times she had gone to these shows, but I chalked it up to her being embarrassed at me finding out and not wanting to hurt me anymore. I also didn't ask about the pictures. I didn't want her to know that I had looked at her phone and there really wasn't any smoking pew-pew evidence of infidelity. But the next day, something still just felt off. Maybe me just questioning myself and my naivete up until this point.
You got to tell her you looked at her phone.
You both were keeping secrets. You got to tell her. So I reached out to a mutual friend of ours, Kirsten. Kirsten was a part of Jen and Amber's college friend group, and I knew Kirsten casually from a few classes we had taken together. Kirsten and I were close at all, and I hadn't seen her since graduation, but we reconnected at her wedding a couple of years ago. The wedding was just around the time Jen and I became exclusive. Jen and Amber were both bridesmaids. Jen took me as her +1. As far as I knew, Kirsten and Jen didn't have much interaction after the wedding, which I assume was just normal for married people to lose contact with unmarried friends. I messaged Kirsten Saturday. I used the pretense that I was thinking of taking things to the next level with Jen, and that since she was the first person in the friend group that got married and that she knew Jen, that she could give me some advice. What she said next stunned me. She said that she didn't know that Jen and I were a couple, and that she hadn't spoken to Jen since the wedding. She also said we should meet up for coffee so she could fill me in on some things in person, but not to tell Jen we were meeting. Definitely cheating. She has to have cheated.
That is so weird. Like, if I had a friend that I consider my best friend, I don't even know that they have a partner, and I'm taking them out to, like, all these things.
No, I think what happened is Jen and OP's partner were friends prior to Jen's wedding, and then I think something probably happened at Jen's bachelorette party, and like they cut off their friendship, and now she's finding like, OMG, OP's dating his girlfriend, and he probably doesn't know about what happened at the bachelorette party, something along those lines.
Got it.
Yeah,
Still weird that, I don't know, you have a friend and they have a partner and you don't know about that.
Well, I don't think
How
they're
good
friends
friends
anymore.
are you?
They're not good. That's what she said. They said that they're after the wedding they like stopped being friends.
Oh, sorry. I thought this was like the best friend she went out with like 4 to 6 times a week.
No, different friend.
Different friend?
Yeah.
Apologies,
Yeah.
different friend.
We had coffee Sunday. Wow, just effing wow. Here is what she told me. I have written this chronologically so it makes more sense.
Time out. Go away. Your guess. He has probably more than just 2 points.
Okay.
Say another point.
My same point. I think she cheated.
Okay. Cheated and got with one of the spicy dancers
Oh, yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Because they get tacos afterwards. Because I saw one of the dancers afterwards get tacos. So, like,
They're people.
they're people.
1. According to Kirsten, Jen was a virgin until her 21st birthday. As a joke, Kirsten, Amber, and friends decided to hire a male spicy dancer for Jen's birthday celebration. To everyone's shock, Jen really liked the dancer and lost her virginity that night.
Whoa, dang. No, that's like that. Not saying that's bad, but like to me, that is something very special, and you give it to someone that like that's what their world is.
I think it differs for different people. I think that it really is like I heard this thing about like a first kiss, and they were like talking about like someone, I think it was in a show, and the person was saying like their first kiss was terrible, and they're like, it's not about the first kiss, it's about the first one that matters. And I think that's really nice. So I think in this case, it's up to her, whatever she does. However, I do think it's kind of unprofessional of the stripper. Hopefully she wasn't, pushing him to do anything. Jen became more interested in dancers and would do things like suggesting Magic Mike for movie night. Other times, she would comment on guys walking around campus, making comments about abs and biceps, and saying, I bet he looks good in a thong. Girl, Jen, calm down. 4, Jen had a serious boyfriend after college and before we met that I didn't know about. According to Kirsten, the relationship ended when the boyfriend discovered Jen in bed with, a spicy dancer. Jen had gone to a male review, hung out after the show. She managed to pick up one of the dancers and took him home. She's got riz with spicy dancers specifically. The boyfriend ended up moving out of town for work, which is why I had never heard of him. The friend group knew about this mess, and Kirsten figured Jen had learned her lesson. 6. At Kirsten's bachelorette party, where Jen and Amber were bridesmaids, Kirsten had explicitly told them no spicy dancers. She's like, do not. We all know Jen.
Jen's gonna do something crazy. I don't want to be around that. Let's not.
Kirsten was understandably furious with them hijacking her bachelorette and blatantly disrespecting her, and ended the friendship with Jen and Amber, though she kept them in the wedding party because the wedding date was only a week away, and she didn't want word of this to get out and overshadow the wedding. Looking back, I remember the vibe of the wedding felt off, and this was why. I could tell Kirsten was still rightfully very pissed about this whole situation, and said I deserved to know the truth. Over the course of an hour, I went from stunned to furious. I'll spare you the ugly details of Sunday evening, but I broke it off and told Jen she has until the end of the week to move out. She was crying, screaming, begging, but at this point I had enough and told her she could F off and pass away. That's pretty intense. Among her excuses, there was nothing wrong with a woman liking hot men, and that it was all just a fantasy, no different than guys liking corn, except it's not a fantasy if you're actively doing it.
That's reality.
It got her corny, and I got the benefit of it. I was being insecure, she really loved me, and saw a future together, and this was something she could work through. Oh, she never slept with spicy dancers after Kirsten's bachelorette, and that debacle was early in our relationship and shouldn't count. But who the F knows? Were they official, though? If you guys were official, then it absolutely counts.
That's a big one.
Jen will be sleeping in the spare room for now, but I told her this is over. I will avoid her as much as I can until she moves out. I am not worried about her doing psycho crap. I think she knows I will go nuclear and tell her parents and family the whole story if she tries anything. So it's done. Thank you again for everyone who gave me the needed push to man up and confront this.
Oh no, there's a second update. This is what happens. She goes to the male dudes and it's like, hey guys, we have to go and convince my husband to get back with me. They all go up and they're like, will you be my boyfriend? And she's like, no. Will you be my boyfriend? No. Boyfriend, no. Get to the end hoping he will say it, and then he says, yes, I'll be your boyfriend, and then they all flash dance.
Yeah, except they're actually flashing.
Yep, just wiener and balls everywhere, just left and right.
There you have it.
Sausage party with some meatballs joining.
But there's an update. Jen finished moving out Saturday. No drama. I mostly avoided her. She made some attempts at reconciliation, but I think she knew it was hopeless. Some of you made helpful suggestions to protect myself, but mostly weren't needed. I wasn't worried about her trashing the place. She's not crazy. She just got caught. She also knew that I would go nuclear if she tried any stunts. In all years together, she has never seen me this pissed off. Hell, I had never seen me this pissed off. I also wasn't worried about her trying to spin some story for sympathy. Our respective families live in different states. Our friend circles, what's left of hers, don't overlap. We work for different companies. So there was no one for her to play the sympathy card on. Also, I wasn't worried about baby trapping, as I would never stick my wiener in that again. Also, we are both well-paid IT professionals with plenty of disposable income and no desire to have kids. STD panel is clean. I did speak with Kirsten, former friend of Jen, to let her know what happened. One thing she said made me feel a bit better. She said that during and after college, Jen was actually pretty selective in who she dated and was not into the casual hookup culture, and probably hadn't been with more than 5 guys total before me.
Dude, stop talking. Just in the Reddit story 3 sentences ago. Just stop.
With the obvious exception, she had a hobby of effing spicy dancers. And yes, I know that sounds effed up writing it, but she probably wasn't running around with loads of random hookups behind my back. So yes, I may have been naive, but not that naive. But you know what's not naive? Joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. It's actually very adult of you. There's a little bit more to the story, but I think it's the right decision.
But bro kind of burnt out at the end there. Like, he was the hero, and then he made some remarks, and was like,
no, just walk out.
Yeah, dude.
Let her leave. But there is more to the story. One of my friends said this whole thing reminded him of stories about men who, with loving wives and families, but who have some spicy desire that can only be satisfied by hiring street spicy Captain Hook. Losing her virginity to a spicy dancer may have done something to Jen's psyche that could only be satisfied with some jack dude with oiled muscles dancing in a thong. You're just making up these thoughts? Not my problem anymore. I am doing as okay as can be in this situation. I am not really depressed because I am still pissed off about the whole situation. At some point, I may go to a spicy club just to see what they're all about. And that's the end of that.
My sister's mother-in-law is overbearing. She does not like it when I stand my ground.
I bet you don't, but here I am, standing on that ground.
My sister is married to a man with a stay-at-home mother who has decided that adulthood through middle age is still too early to stop overparenting her children, and is also very opinionated about what everyone else should be doing. She forgot the golden rule in kindergarten: worry about yourself, not what others are doing. Especially when it comes to parenting, because she's wonderful at it, apparently. By the way, this comes from Tetterhood78 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, to keep the peace, people in my family let her get away with it. I do not. This greatly upsets her. Back when our children were in elementary school and before sis and hubby were formally married, we all lived in the same neighborhood. I'd go to my sister's for a visit, and afterward, we'd both walk to the school to pick them up at the end of the day. Mother-in-law insisted on coming too. Sis didn't think it was a hill to die on, so I kept my mouth shut. One day, her overly critical highness decided that she did not like my child's coat, and that we needed to fix that, meaning that I would have to spend my money to buy another coat that met her approval. I love the coat, and also didn't give a crap about her preferences. So I told her there was no need to talk about it. She kept it up constantly for almost a week, because comments like, I don't care if you like it or not, I'm not your kid, and even if I were, I'd still tell you to back off, were too vague for her to get the hint that I wasn't going to be pushed around. I tried ignoring her, tried changing the subjects. She was just fixated. So finally, I turned around and told her flat out I did not give two effing crap loads in space what she liked, and that it was none of her effing business. She got fed up with my stubbornness and advances on me, poking me hard in the chest over and over. I don't care if you're not related to me or not. You are my son's girlfriend's sister, and you will do what I tell you to do.
Yeah, so, hi. Hey, I have a question. Who freaking made you the queen of the whole universe, huh? Dude, if I saw my dad do this to my mom, I'd tackle him through the freaking ground.
I warned her not to make physical contact with me ever again, and she started screaming and sobbing and telling everyone within a 2-mile radius that she was being harassed and threatened just because she was trying to be helpful. I laughed, ha ha ha, and walked on while she was being comforted. An hour later, I had had over 20 calls, texts from people telling me to apologize to her to keep the peace, suggesting strongly that I should go out, buy another coat immediately so that she would not be upset anymore. Even one threatening to cash me outside.
I just might. No, okay, no, I wouldn't do that. It's never a good idea to escalate things into a physical altercation. It's never a good idea. If you're defending somebody, that's one thing. But if you're just going like, no acute situation, you're going, fine, all right, let's go freaking throw down. It's like not a smart thing to do.
My sister has been with her husband for 25 years, so I have tons of stories about this woman. Like one about the time my nephew and nieces couldn't come to my daughter's birthday party because I refused to invite her and my sister's boyfriend's mother's nephew's son. Or the time my baby shower was canceled because I preferred to have my friends as guests instead of my sister's boyfriend's mother's mother-in-law plus sister-in-laws, almost of whom all I've never met.
Yeah, it's like, again, who do you think you are? The queen of the world? Just so I'm supposed to invite everyone that you know now to my thing?
Or the time there was a Royal Rumble elimination style verbal cage match, 1 against 12, because I decided to use my tax refund for dental care instead of a TV. Or the family blow up because I refused to give her half of the bottles of shampoo I had bought at half price.
A lot of weirdly specific things there at the end, and all of them tell me that this woman is a freaking self-absorbed menace of a person. I do want to catch her outside, but at the same time, I want to protect all my lovely babies from, judicial consequences. It might be the right thing to do to catch someone outside, but then you got to play within the rules of the court.
And the rules of the court is you invite them to your house on your property, and you can properly catch them outside and they be done with. Anyways, updates. Since there seemed to be so much interest in the follow-up of my sister's mother-in-law, who believes that our tenuous relationship makes her an authority over me, and who I may start referring to as Dark Helmet from now on. Here's another story. First post. Disclaimer, this story got a bit more attention than I expected, blah, 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 blah. For Christmas every year, our extended family tradition is that each small family group does presents/stockings and breakfast with the kids at home. Then we head to grandparents' house for the turkey dinner. Then in the evening, all of these people head to my aunt's house for the big party with all the cousins, plus her partner's side of the family. There are hundreds of us. Think of a swarm of locusts. One year, my mother called about a week beforehand to let me know of a change in plans. Instead of heading to my parents' house, we were going to Dark Helmets before the big do. I was not in favor of this arrangement and bowed out gracefully. In the next few days, I underwent one of the biggest psychological ever launched. I was ruining Christmas. It wasn't fair to make them choose between me and Dark Helmet. I was destroying my kids' relationships with family. It was such a small thing. If I didn't do it, I'd be responsible for every bit of evil that exists. Blah, 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 blah. It was relentless, and I buckled on the 23rd when they got to my kids, who told me they really wanted to go. They were relieved and started telling me all about their plans, none of which I cared about. But the highlight was going to be her normally shy husband's performance of his favorite song. Once he'd had a few drinks in him, you'd see I'd be in for a real treat. The day of, we're headed to their place. She was on her best behavior. She only had a problem with the way I cooked the ham I brought, how I'd worn my natural curlier, with how my outfits always consist of dark colors, with how I was wearing a sweater that showed too much cleavage, even though I'm relatively flat-chested and haven't even met my cleavage, with how I was wearing heels even though I already was so much taller than her, how much more vain I am than she is, and a few more that I've forgotten. So she just shows up and gets attacked.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
So I'm just curious, why aren't you swinging back verbally at this woman? Where is the counterattack here?
Yeah, one good swing would probably shut her up.
Dude, you could get some good swings in it, man.
I had one uncle make fun of me all the time, and then I gave him one good one, and he has never said a word to me again like that. Yeah, it works.
I just wish I could say some of the stuff rattling around in my head about what to say to this woman.
Before the food was an hour away from being ready, Dark Helmet's husband had consumed enough booze that he already felt for the night's entertainment highlight. We all gathered around in the living room. Then he opened his mouth and completely botched the words. He even got the title wrong, and it was the most repeated word in the entire song. Thanks someone singing macaroni instead of macarania.
To be fair, that's hilarious. To be fair, that actually is really funny.
Oh, it's probably like Jingle Bells. He's singing like Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells. I politely clapped with the rest of them and headed outside for some fresh air, hoping to avoid being asked for a critique. Dark Helmet cornered me just inside the door when I headed back inside. So what do you think of Jeffrey's performance? It was nice. I'm not familiar with that version he did, but he did a surprisingly good job. That's where I went wrong. What do you mean? That's the only version of the song. The version I heard was,
It was Jingle Bells, not Jingle Balls.
she laughed at me, ha ha, and then went to make fun of me for it with everyone else in the house. How silly I was, trying to correct her husband on a song he's been singing for decades. Hilarious. They thought they got such a kick out of proving me wrong. She kept harping in on it. Then I finally got frustrated enough to throw a caution to the wind. I offered to bring it up on my phone. Guys, she forbade me to use my phone to do a search and bring up the video. Forbade me!
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. Can you imagine that in court where it's just like, and that is my argument as to why my client is innocent. And no defense. You're not allowed to use, no.
Oh, and here's the evidence.
No looking that up. No, don't look anything up, though. Defense, stop it. Defense doesn't get to talk. Good night.
I, of course, did it anyways. And she tried to grab the phone out of my hand?
That's a battery, dude.
We had a legit tussle in the hallway and she started yelling? Everyone came running to see what I had done to set her off. Oh, this is perfect. And guess who did it? It was her. Oh my gosh, I love this. Yes, 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 yes. Because that is the only reasonable conclusion.
Right. And it's something that she did. It's like, wait, why is she the bad apple when it's clearly this other person?
Time out. What? I told him it was time for me to go, and I just wanted to be left alone to gather my things and get my kids ready to go home. This was unacceptable, and then I found myself surrounded by a coven of shrieking harpies, all intended on having their say. Her husband wanted an apology. My sister wanted me to keep the peace. My parents were off on a look what she's done now tangent. Brother-in-law wanted me to show respect to his mother, and his inebriated brother just saw people in confusion and decided to just throw out random loud words in the same direction everyone else was facing. What was that word?
That was confrontation.
Confrontation.
Seems like you have all of the secret techniques of the worst communicators, which is like, just blame it on... Why? She's just trying to look... She's like, no, that's actually not the right lyric. I'll look it up right now. No, you can't. What the hell are you talking about? I can't. Yeah, I can. Watch. I'll do it right now. Grabs phone, starts pulling and yanking. Help! Help! OP's trying to help!
What I was hoping was going to happen was OP would have everyone there and she was going to like confront her in front of everyone. But then she was like, I need to leave. And then everyone started yelling at her. Dude, that was not the climax I was hoping for.
Why do these people so much?
I absolutely know why. Because remember when Moses gave a plague upon the Egyptians and it was like, 7 different things? She's going to bring a plague upon these people if she doesn't get her way. Facts. So that's why everyone's like, please, for the love of God, OP, make her happy. Make her happy. That's what they're freaking out because they know that if OP sets her off, they're going to have to hear about it. They're going to have to hear about it for days on end. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Is this hitting a little too close? Maybe. Perhaps.
OP, I would just play that song at full volume. Whatever that song is.
I managed to get all of my stuff together and got my kids dressed to go. That's when Dark Helmet decided to ban me from the super party later that night. I figured it would be best to skip out anyways, so no big loss. But when the crap went sideways, when she decided that she allowed me to leave, while my kids had to stay, they were not going to let me ruin Christmas for my precious babies. They straight up backed me up through the door, then shut it and locked it. And by the way, we will never shut and lock you out just because we're done with a story. We're not done because we have stories just like this on your favorite podcast platforms. Just look up OK Storytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to them. We got crazy stories just like this. But holy cow! They just shoved her and put her out in the cold?
I gotta say, if I was a child watching my mother being shoved out of a house against her will, that is not my perfect Christmas. I think all of these people need to be sent, I don't know. They need to be sent to like a different moon. They need to be sent to like the moon of Jupiter. They need to be sent to Titan. They need to go freeze their tiny little shrimps off. It's nonsense, dude. This is nonsense.
I stayed outside on the lawn in 3 feet of snow in negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit weather, negative 34 degrees Celsius for about 15 minutes, weighing the pros and cons of calling the cops / trying to get myself from going nuclear.
Good point there. They're literally kidnapping right now, so call the police.
Luckily, a patrol car passed by, so I flagged them down. They went to the door with me so I could collect the kids and head home. No charges necessary. Luckily, I had picked up the fixings for dinner already, so we still managed to have a decent Christmas when we got home, all things considered. Oh, and I got to hear my daughter say, Mommy, I think Dark Helmet is bat bit insane.
You never know. It's like, I bet you the kid heard somebody else in the party being like that, say that, and then the kid probably mimicked it.
But I'm glad the kid knows that, and it's not the, Mom, you ruined Christmas, I couldn't hang out with my cousins. She was weird, and sorry. Anyways, that is the end of that story.
My girlfriend said she quit smoking, but I know she's lying.
Okay.
Maybe you have the smoking gun. So my girlfriend, 24 female, and I, 24 non-binary, have been together for 2.5 years. When we both met, we both vaped pretty consistently. I, however, since childhood, have had a few complications with my lungs. I know, not wise, but I was stupid. And after a few years of doing it on New Year's of 2023, I decided that I wanted to quit.
Hey.
Let's go. I personally really wanted to stop because I knew it wasn't doing me any favors. By the way, this comes from Unique Hero 112. If you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my girlfriend, Layla, fake name, had continued to vape after I quit. And honestly, I really didn't care if she did or not. She's an adult, and until she decided she wanted to quit, then that was a choice that she could continue with. OP's quitting vaping, but she doesn't expect her girlfriend to do so.
Can't control them.
Or their girlfriend to do so. Then, in April of this year, 2024, I was hospitalized and admitted for 5 days due to a flare-up in my lungs.
Whoa.
I was really cautious for a few weeks about things like vape smoke getting near me because of how reactive my lungs had been. And Layla was incredibly respectful, loving, and awesome during that time, and actively made it her mission to not vape in front of me.
Very good.
Which I know is the bare minimum, but also it was nice to know she was actively being mindful. In June, Layla sat me down and told me that she really wanted to quit vaping because she feared for my health and didn't want to contribute to my lung problem in the long run. That is sweet.
Yes.
I love that. She didn't talk about her quitting journey much, which was fair because I didn't either when I was going through it. To help with the cravings, though, she was chewing on nicotine gum, which seemed to do her good. The longer time passed, the more I noticed she didn't need it.
Okay.
So I feel like she's weaning off.
This seems great.
I was so proud of her and tried to make sure she knew it all the time. In July, Layla confessed that she was struggling pretty hard mentally. She then had a large breakdown.
Oh.
I spent the weekend comforting and making sure she was okay. But after that, unfortunately, a lot of things started happening. So we couldn't see one another for more than a day or two each week. It was hard, but we managed. Then, fast forward to last night. It was the first time in a while we had been able to hang out, and we were going to be together all weekend. We were sitting on the couch, and I noticed a new pack of 150 nicotine gums on the coffee table.
Oh.
That's a solid pack.
Seems like a lot, but also, I don't know. So
Yeah,
let me know,
how many nicotine gums does one go through in a day? Let us know, chat.
Yes.
I asked her about it because it seemed like 150 was a little excessive.
Okay, there we go.
She'd been doing really well, or at least that's what I thought. She took a moment before confessing that she had been smoking cigs every day since her breakdown. She had been showering every day, washing her hair and all her clothes regularly, and actively hiding it from me. I was so shocked I asked if she would have ever told me, and she said that the only questions I'd been asking her were about vaping, which she had not done, not smoking.
The
little loophole.
The old loophole.
Oh, I mean, which is worse, vaping or cigarettes?
Oh.
Obviously, cigarette.
Yeah, I feel it's like
so.
it feels like, hey, like, babe, I really don't think you should be like watching any porn anymore. You're like, all right, babe, I won't. And then you just start hooking up with prostitutes, and you're like, I'm not watching porn anymore.
Hey, I said I wouldn't do it.
I said I wouldn't do
no.
it. You didn't say not to do this.
Come on.
She's a professional, a working woman. She has a family. I'm putting her through college. And if I had asked, she would have told me. But I had no idea. We had a long talk last night about it. She said that it has been just for me and something that I didn't need to be clued in on, and she likened it to me reading smut. I don't tell her what I'm reading all the time, but I do tell her, and that has to amount to something, right? She talked about how she wanted to quit, hence the gum, because it made her feel gross, but she had just bought a new packet, and she wasn't hurting anyone but herself. So she didn't think it was relevant to bring up, but it isn't the smoking that I am still reeling about. It's the lying.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, like, I think in any relationship, that's actually what matters.
Yeah.
I think like this is, it would be great if she didn't smoke around OP and all that because of the health reasons. But that's like OP never asked her to quit smoking. She like said it of her own volition and then spun up this whole lie about like pretending someone who she's not.
Yeah, well, and correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like she was like doing good, was off it, but then she had kind of like a break, like an emotional breakdown, as she said, and then that's when she just started like kind of like binging cigarettes. It seems for that.
But
time period.
It's just still the lying.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like I was gonna say like maybe she just felt like she like let her down or disappointed her with everything, but it doesn't it never justifies it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, and it's like, why, especially about something that it's not like it was an expectation.
Yeah,
in the relationship.
exactly. I think
So,
again, like a trust in a partner is so important. If you start to realize they're lying about small things, you're like, what else are you lying about? It erodes at the trust.
foundation of everything.
Yeah. I had a short okay story time. I had a situation that happened. I've told you this story. You know the story I'm about to tell.
Tragic. It is good one to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I was dating this girl, and I'm like, oh, you should buy this like skirt I saw. I think it would look cute on you. And she's like, okay, I'll buy it. And she's like, I just bought it. I'm like, okay, cool. And then a week later, I'm like, did you buy the skirt? And she's like, oh, it's coming. It's in the mail. And a week later, I'm like, did you ever buy that skirt? And she's like, yeah, I did. It's like coming. It's like, you said it was coming like a while ago. And she's like, well, it didn't come. I'm like, did you act like I don't know if I believe you bought the skirt. And then later that night, she sends me a badly photoshopped picture of her like buying the skirt, and like the dates changed of when she bought it, and like but she used like Comic Sans instead of like
Comic Sans
Helvetica or
strikes
whatever.
again. I'm
And
so
like,
dead.
what the? I was so surprised that she would lie about something so silly that literally meant nothing. And I'm like, hey, like I don't think we could keep seeing each other. Because she had like, this was a relationship where she kind of had lied before, and she's like, "You're gonna break up over something so small," and I'm like, "Well, it's not the fact that you didn't buy. I don't care if you bought a skirt. I just cared that you lied about it for weeks."
Yeah, and
Like,
and
that's
honestly,
what's-
that you would lie about something that small. It lends it to believe that there's a lot of other things that could be lies, and you don't.
And guess what? There was.
Oh dear.
Actively hiding something this big for me when she knew that I didn't care that she had vaped for a majority of our relationship. I'm still at her place while she's at work, and I don't know what to do about this. I want to confront her properly about my feelings, but I don't want to impose on her choices. How do I confront her about this without making her feel shameful or guilty? What should I do? I love her so much, and it hurts knowing she kept something like this so secret. We have some comments, we have some updates, but I would love to know from chat and from John, like, what do you think about this situation? Is this breakup worthy? Is this, talk about it? Like, what do you think should be done here?
Again, the one thing I'll give her is maybe she felt a lot of shame with with the lung health issues she had, and also like, I guess being in an emotional breakdown, like not being in the right headspace. So I think it's a sit down and but basically be like, hey, like we need trust to be the foundation of our relationship. Like it's not about the smoking, it's about the lying. And I want to make sure that like we're on the same page, and like I do think any time a lie is said, it can put things into question.
Yeah.
So as Taylor at the Lost Toy says in chat, a lie is a lie.
Yeah.
So I think need to talk about that and
I
build
think
back the trust.
I think there's a couple ways to go about it. It's one is like, is this lying deep into the relationship? You find if it's like deep and comes out in multiple ways in the relationship, then maybe it's not a relationship that you can build up upon. But if it's just this one thing and it's coming maybe from like guilt and shame, which it sounds like it is, there might be a path forward where OP can basically be like, hey, like I know it's hard to quit, and I know you went through this tough time, and just know like for these things, I'm not going to judge you for this. But I will judge you if you lie to me.
Yeah.
But I will never judge you for telling. Well, never. But like I will always appreciate the truth rather than a lie.
Yes.
And
we can work with the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We can build a relationship upon truth.
Yes.
And so maybe that is like maybe you can assuage some of the guilt feelings that this person is feeling that's causing the lying.
Yeah.
But it's also just like how deep does do lies go?
Indeed.
But we got some comments.
Oh,
We got some updates.
Oh,
baby cakes McGee. Let's get into the comments.
We'll see it.
Comment 1. She needs to want to quit for herself, not anybody else. To me, that is just a white lie, and she just didn't want you to be disappointed in her. If you truly love her, like you say, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. 2, your girlfriend is struggling with being a regular user and substance use in a time of crisis. If that's something that's unacceptable to you, then you'll have to remove yourself from the situation. But in my opinion, this is a health episode which demands empathy and teamwork, not finger pointing. I advise you to stay in her corner on her journey back to better health. And Opie responds, thanks for this. I do want to be in her corner and support her, but I also think I have some residual fears about my health since the incident happened earlier this year. But I am reeling a bit from the shock of it as well, I think. And here's the update.
Oh,
I do think there should be grace given. Like I
think so personally. Yeah.
Especially if it's not, the lies haven't worked their way into all of the relationship. If it's this one segmented, like we said, like I think we could build it up, but I think you just closer analysis and work on the relationship is needed.
The example you shared, it kind of makes you put everything into question. This one was like, oh, I see why. I can see how the guilt and shame and the emotional breakdown, like what led you to, do this wrong. And to me, it if I was OP, it would put me in less of a headspace of like, oh, is everything? Oh, there are a ton of other lies. Yeah,
agreed. But we got an update.
Here we go.
So firstly, thank you to everyone who commented on my post. Some were harsh, but the criticism of my thoughts and actions was a really good wake-up call. Reading the comments that talked about how this is a sign of a true regular user and that I needed to approach this with sympathy and patience were helpful, because I won't lie, I was pretty shocked and a little hurt when I found out she had been actively hiding her smoking from me. I resonated with the comments so much. We sat with a cuppa and had a long chat the night I made the post. It was actually really nice, and I felt good knowing how she felt. The night following was Saturday, and I had my housewarming party for my new apartment. My friends and both my roommates' friends were coming over. I was super excited, and Layla, fake name, came over to mine early to help me set up the party. She helped keep setting up, and then we got ready together. The party started off awesome with about 25 people squashed in my little apartment. That was until 9:30 when Layla went out for a smoke with another girl. I had told Layla prior if she wanted to smoke, she'd need to walk out to the side street next to my apartment because there are some pretty strict smoking rules, but I told her to go ahead. I didn't know the other girl. I'd assumed it was a friend of one of my roommates and gave Layla a kiss goodbye before she left. Do we have an ICU?
ICUs, they might be popping up, ladies and gentlemen. Are we putting that in the chat?
Oh, bae. Granted, everyone at this point was a good amount of tipsy, including myself. Layla was gone for 45 minutes. Started to miss her and a little wasted I was and sent her a bunch of texts asking when she was coming back. I got no response. So I went into my room, and from the vantage point of my bedroom window, I can see on the end of my small street. And sure enough, I could clearly see Layla and this girl making out against a brick wall. Oh!
And the lies are more.
The lies!
The lies.
The lies!
More.
They keep coming.
Come on.
Oh, man. Okay, like, I see what people were saying in the Reddit comments where it's like, all right, substance users, it's a common habit to lie about the substance because it's a hard thing to get over. And I understand that. Like that, yes, that like, or I don't understand it, but like theoretically, I get that. But if someone's in that position, are they ready for like to come together in a relationship that's supposed to be built on integrity and trust? Or do they really just need to focus on themselves and like figure it out? Like, maybe they need to do that not in the context of the relationship and more in the context of themselves, maybe with support from a distance.
Totally could be, you know. Yeah, it's like, and it gave you the benefit of the doubt, and then here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, I know. I also I feel like the comments last one were turning OP's thoughts. They're like, oh, maybe I should give another chance, and then bam,
here we are.
Hannah says, okay, I thought cheating, but wasn't sure. Yeah. Taylor at the Lost says, see, if she could lie small, she could lie big.
That was a big one.
It's a big one. That's a big one. So I shut down and locked myself in the bathroom. I don't know how long I was in there, but when I got out, Layla was back with the other girl. A part of me wanted to cry and scream, but another part of me wanted to deny it ever happened. And so I did that. I drank heaps, partied hard, and then everyone left at 1 a.m. But Layla stayed over, so she didn't have to drive. And obviously, she's my girlfriend, right? I won't lie, I was wasted. We had spicy sleep at the party. And when we finished, I told her what I'd seen. She said she had a feeling I'd found out because I'd been acting weird and said that she'd been seeing Zara, fake name, for 3.5 weeks. They met through a mutual friend, and Zara took my girlfriend to the smokers area of the bar the night after Layla's breakdown, and they seemed to click. Layla has been seeing her since. I felt numb. I can't believe I didn't see the signs, and yet I let Layla sleep over. But when I woke up, she was gone the next morning. It's been a few days since, and she hasn't said a single thing, no texts, no calls, and I have no clue what the heck to do. After 2.5 years in this relationship, this is the first time I felt so alone.
Wow.
Are we over? Why did she walk out on me when she's been cheating on me? I know I should break up with her, but I love her so much. Nothing feels real at the moment, but I thought I would update. And we got some comments and we got some responses from OP, but John,
I mean,
what do you think? Breakup or nah?
I feel like this is breakup because it's like, again, first thing we were like, okay, maybe this isn't indicative of other things. This is clearly like, it feels like there's just no care. There's just no care here, like, or concern for like OP's emotional well-being or anything like that. Yeah, just super whack.
Super whack. So whack.
The way that it doesn't even like to smile, whack.
And we gave her the benefit of the doubt. I believe someone asked what is the gender of OP. OP is non-binary.
Yes.
So whack, dude. So whack. I do think our thought process was sound.
Yes.
Where it's like, hey, this could just be one lie, one moment. But I think this combined with the smooching.
Oh yeah, it's so clear. It's like
so clear.
You will just lie.
You will
in
just
this relationship, and there can be no trust. It ain't there.
It ain't there. So we got some comments. Comment 1. She obviously doesn't care about you or the relationship. Even when she hid smoking, she didn't come off as trustworthy. I feel like you should end the relationship and move on. I agree. I feel like at this point, she kind of already did this by not reaching out to you. Sounds like she's been done with the relationship for a minute. I'm sorry you have to go through this. You deserve someone who will actually be upfront and honest about things. If this affects you mentally, I think you should see a therapist. I hope the best for you. And that is where this story ends.
Wow.
Benito.
Hopefully,
Bendito.
OP went through with it and just, focus on yourself.
I hope so. But man, you know what I also hope you go through?
What?
Watching this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Just search OK Storytime and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts for more full episodes just like this. Boom. But yeah, wow.
Wow.
Big one, but we got more in store for your.
I discovered my girlfriend's credit card debt and I want to leave her.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it is broke, get out of there.
Yeah, I guess so. I, 29 male, recently broke up with my girlfriend Lisa, 28 female, after dating for a year. My friends think I'm a huge a-hole to break up with someone over money, but I feel that I did the right thing. One of my friends suggested me to post here so that I can see I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. By the way, this comes from user throwawaybadboyfriend1212, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. For context, I have a comfortable job now, and financially I'm in a great place. I grew up poor and had to scrap through most of my college on scholarships. Luckily, I found good mentors in college and was able to finish my PhD in a very lucrative field. I know what it's like to have nothing and am very frugal with my resources. I met Lisa a year ago on a dating app. Lisa is beautiful, smart, and very charming. Our relationship has been great so far, and we have never had any real fights or differences. She also has great taste, which I lack, and helped me with my wardrobe and making my apartment homely. Her lease was supposed to be up in a few months, and I asked her to move in with me. She was incredibly happy and agreed to it. However, we decided to discuss finances and other important things before we take that next step. 2 weeks ago, we sat down, and I made an Excel spreadsheet to decide how we're going to pay for stuff. I knew I made significantly more than her, and I offered we pay proportionally, which she happily agreed to. For that purpose, I asked her how much she makes, and it was lower than I would have anticipated based on her lifestyle. I asked her how she affords all the designer bags and going to fancy vacations on that salary. She looked embarrassed and told me that she has around $20,000 in credit card debt. I knew about her student loans, but that did not bother me. However, I realized she spends way more than she can afford and had no real answers on how she plans to pay back the credit card balance. She told me that moving in together would help towards paying off the debt, as her monthly living expenses would go down significantly and she can pay that towards the debt. She told me she would be debt-free within a year if we moved in together. However, she also told me she could could not be on the lease as she has a poor credit history. All that led me to rethink our whole relationship.
That is a big part. If you're planning on having a family together, moving in together, you know, their financial issues will become your own. So that is a big thing to consider.
I was looking forward to a long-term relationship and also marrying her one day. However, based on what I have seen so far, she is very irresponsible with money. I have trauma from childhood where my father would spend money on gambling and on fancy items to impress his friends that we couldn't afford, and that meant we barely were scraping by. My mother kept the house together and made sure we had food on the table. I cannot be with a person who is so irresponsible with money and suffers like my mother did. I communicated that to Lisa. She was upset with me. She told me that she's not asking for handouts and she'll take care of her debt. She told me that she made some dumb decisions years ago and is just caught in a bad loop with credit cards. She also said that she's willing to learn from me as her parents never taught her about how to handle money. She also pointed out things I learned from her that I lacked. She asked me to give her time, but I just don't think I can play the same role as my mother. We talked about it for a while, and I told her we cannot move in together until she takes care of the debt. She said she cannot afford to live on her own and take care of it, and finally we broke up over that. She still wants to get back together, but I told her I need time to think. My friends love Lisa and feels that she is a perfect partner for me. They think she has made me into a better person, and I'm stupid to throw away a perfectly good relationship over something that can be fixed. I just don't think I trust her to change, and I know that eventually I will end up supporting her lifestyle if we get married, since money would not be an issue at that point for her. Am I the a-hole to break up over this, and am I throwing away a perfectly good relationship over money? Yes, you are. Both of those things. Especially at the end there, you literally, buddy, you're missing the logic, and it makes sense because you have trauma.
Yeah.
Your trauma is informing you right now, which is, if we're conscious of it, we need to be aware that it's our trauma that's making us do this. Finally, it all came down to me missing her a lot. He's like, I remembered I love her. And I miss her. I do not have a therapist, but I called my mom and visited her over the next weekend to talk about what had happened. My mom loves Lisa, and they get along really well. She was surprised that we had broken up, but didn't know why. I explained to her what I was thinking. I told her about what I observed based on their relationship with money and how I am worried about Lisa's luxurious lifestyle and debt. My mom advised me not to let any issues in their relationship affect how I think, as everyone's situation is different. My dad had a gambling problem, and although he made good money, he lost a significant amount of it a few times when he had lapsed. That led my parents to be in severe debt and us having a very difficult childhood. My mom explained that although my dad did make mistakes, the main reason she stayed with him was because he was a good dad to me. She said that Lisa does not have to be equal to me financially as long as she makes my life better in different ways. My mother also pointed out to me that I have a good job and Lisa makes me very happy. She asked me to consider giving her a second chance and see if she is willing to learn and improve, which we already know she was.
Yeah, you knew that it was wrong.
So OP made all of these decisions based on a place of fear and trauma, which is never a great place to be informed by. I talked to Lisa the next week and indicated that I'm willing to work through things. She came to my apartment the next Saturday with her laptop and started showing me all her finances and why she's in so much debt. Lisa had a great childhood and her parents always bought everything she asked for. She did have to take student loans, but her parents would always buy her nice gifts, as that was their love language. After graduation, reality hit her as she was not making as much money as she thought she would. Her parents financially cut her off as she had a job. I hate that, dude. It's like you're just whatever. It's fine. Go way to set your kid up for absolute financial failure.
Right. Great job, parents.
For the first few years, she tried to keep up with the same lifestyle and didn't understand how much the interests actually cost on her credit cards. She was now in severe debt and barely able to keep up with the credit card and student loan payments. She showed me that a huge percentage of her income just goes to paying off these cards. Her sisters are doing much better than her financially, and she tries to keep up the facade that she is also doing well by going on nice vacations that they plan. She knows it's wrong, but she just got caught up and told me that she would be willing to change if it means we get to be together. Most of the designer bags and stuff are gifts from her parents. No one in her family knows about her debt. And by the way, you can know that we have full episodes with stories just like this for you to listen to on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and wherever you listen to podcasts. All you have to do is search OK Storytime, and you'll find over 2,000 episodes to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Call me the Kool-Aid man, because I'm saying, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a little bit more.
That is important to know that, like, those designer bags and things are gifts.
She's not buying that.
Right.
So it's this whole thing could have been fixed with a longer conversation about all the details of her spending habits. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. Hopefully, you guys can, get back together. She wanted to.
Well, I think that's on the road. I think we're on that road.
Okay,
for sure.
good.
If he's lucky enough that she's like, yeah, I'll come back after you reduce me to a number, which is fair because this is all coming from like legit trauma.
Yes.
And he was like, I know it. I see it. So I'm not going to let her do the same thing my dad did to my mom.
And that is honestly fine to make decisions based off of that. So, I don't blame OP, I guess, for thinking that way, because especially in relationships, if you were in a relationship where maybe this was a problem and then it turned out bad and you're like, okay, never again, then sure, I get that. But if you really love this woman and you really do want to work something out, and this is the only thing the only reason why it wouldn't, then maybe give it a chance, work with it.
Yeah, and he's thinking in the future. He's like, well, when we get married, she's gonna do. It's like, but you're not married. You're moving in together. So it's like this is a perfect opportunity for you to see. Anyway,
exactly.
If you've got trauma, which you probably do, and if it's getting in the way of you living your life, which it could be, go to therapy. Which is what I would suggest to OP to get over his financial trauma. Let's finish this story. She has offered me to manage all of her finances when she moves in with me and only give her an allowance for spending on fun activities. I don't think that's appropriate for me to do. However, I did offer to take care of our living expenses until she repays her debt. She insists she still would want to contribute her share proportionally based on our income. I earn almost 10 times as much as her and live very modestly, so her share of our expenses would be pretty small. We agreed to that. That alone should help a long way in her quickly paying off her cards. I felt she was genuine and she was asking me a lot of questions on how she can pay the cards off quickly. I still feel she does not really understand how high the credit card debt interests are, and we will look into doing something to get that down. Overall, I feel good about my decision, and I'm excited for her to move in with me. Wish us luck, everyone, and again, thanks for sharing your stories in the previous post. They helped me a lot. And that is the end of that story.
Well, good.
I still hope you go to therapy to move through that therapy and address it and process it fully. Because it felt like, again, it's like you can make that decision where it's like, oh, well, if someone is irresponsible with their money, I don't want to date them or be with them. You can make that decision.
Sure.
That's one thing. But it felt like he was fully making that decision from a place of fight or flight, which is not where you should be making that decision.
Yeah.
It just comes down to the context of where it's coming from. And that's that, So I hope, because it didn't really get mentioned in the post, but I hope OP pursues some kind of therapy. Once you're convinced you're predicting the whole future.
Yeah, not a good sign.
It's like you've got something there informing your thought pattern.
Something to pay attention to.
And that makes me think of things as well.
We can all go for some self-reflection. Good for everyone.
Turning it off. That's the end of that story.
My date posted my picture to an online cheaters page to check my loyalty.
Oh yeah. We're doing a deep dive.
I met Danielle on a dating app, and we immediately hit it off. Conversation was super easy for us, so we swapped numbers and spent the next 2 weeks texting and talking on the phone. I explained early on that I want to take my time because not only am I looking for something serious, but also have work commitments for the next few months. I work in tech product sales, which can be very busy, and also involve me leaving the city for a few days at the time. By the way, this comes from a throwaway account, so if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So she said she understood and was also looking for something long-term. Great, PT. We met the weekend before Valentine's and had a nice restaurant date followed by dessert and coffee. We finished with a kiss, and I walked her back to the car.
I hate that smooch.
It was definitely the best date I've been on since my last relationship. The next day, I called her to say I was looking forward to seeing her again and would plan something when I got back. I live in a major North American city, and from the 15th to the 17th, I was booked 3 hours away on on-site client meetings. I told her about this and let her know we'd keep in touch. On Friday, I'm due to get back. I get a message from a close female friend asking who I pissed off. I have no clue what she's talking about. She sends me a screenshot of my photo on what looks like a Facebook page and tells me it's a private group where women call out men for cheating. Is this a real thing? Is this real?
I mean, there's gotta be, right? I mean, there was the whole, there was that website for cheating, which is insane. And it got leaked, like a database of all the people who signed up for the cheater website.
Let me know Let me know if anyone has perused this or submitted pictures to this.
And let me know if I'm on there.
Actually, yes, I would love to. I would love to know if any of us are
crazy,
on there.
yeah, that you
That'd be
could just get
crazy.
thrown on there with like no real evidence or anything.
It's called "Are We Dating the Same Guy?" And this particular group is just for people from my city.
Oh, wow.
In the screenshot, multiple people are posting under my picture with mostly harmless comments like, "Oh, I went on a date with him years ago. He was okay." But there were others like, "PM me for the tea." And one woman said, "He's an angry a-hole. Stay away for your safety." Because it's Facebook. I recognized her name as someone I went on a date with last summer who I had to block after she repeatedly tried to sell me her cat. Absolute lunatic.
Right. This a-hole wouldn't buy my cat.
A few things about me. I am single. I have never been married, and my last relationship was over a year ago. I am very selective, and Danielle was the first date I'd been on since the end of summer. I am also a very private person. I don't use social media, and I don't kiss and tell. The fact that my photo is on this site is mortifying. What makes it worse is when I got home, I started getting a text from a bunch of other people I know, either laughing at me or calling me a womanizer. Is every woman on this Facebook page?
What town do you live in where everyone is in this Facebook group?
Ming Ming says in the chat, yep, Facebook groups in each city/area.
Yeah, well.
Oh my God. Let's go to LA one or the Santa Monica one.
No.
And look
I'm
up our
scared.
names. Let's look. Come on. Kia, pull that
I
out.
know I'm not on there.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Wow.
Wait, it's on Facebook?
We gotta have the okay story time. Am I dating the same guy?
Or actually,
Yeah,
maybe
he has this volcano he throws people into.
as of now, I'm aware that several female friends have seen it. One coworker, my sister, and a woman I know who lives in the same building as me that excitedly grabbed me when I was leaving this morning to tell me, "I saw you on that Facebook group." Apparently, it's a lot more popular than I realized. There's only one person who have had the motivation to do this, so I called Danielle on the weekend and asked her. So really quick, pausing right here. Deal breaker or not for our early relationship?
I mean, like, it's definitely an eyebrow raiser.
It's weird. I feel like it like, especially this early on without any evidence, it feels like insecurity.
It really just depends on the energy that I think I'm being presented. I would have to suss out the vibe. I could very see this as easily a moment where I go, I'm now done with this.
Yeah.
Like where I'm just like, and now I'm getting out of this.
I think if this happened to me in this way, I probably would not be interested in that person anymore.
Because it's like, where does it end? It's like, it's about this, but like, then it's going to be about like,
it starts like this.
We buy a house
so
and now all of
early.
a sudden I'm sleeping with the neighbor. It's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
We went through this.
So, Sam.
What?
I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's West Side or West LA, Santa Monica, and Venice. Guess how many people are in this community?
How many?
100,000.
Oh, whoa, no.
500,000.
10,000.
It's like 9 to 10,000.
Sheesh. Just for a local area. Oh my God.
And you have to join the group. So, like
I
it's
don't think
restricted
men
to,
are
like,
going to be
see it.
allowed to join. I'm looking at people saying, Princess McNubbins, help keep those pages safe for women who need to warn others. Aries88 says she could ruin his character. Serenity Horse Ranch says it's about safety due to online dating. Wow. This is a whole little world.
It's worldwide, yeah.
If anyone is naturally part of this, you don't have to screenshot, but if you're part of this, I would love to know if any of us are on there. You don't have to screenshot anything, or you don't have to let us in, but I would want to know.
Let me in.
So initially she denied it, but after some prodding, that flipped to apparently her friend posting it. Why? Because a few of them had gotten tipsy together on Valentine's. As they're all single, my name came up after her friends asked why she wasn't with me that night after the great date she told them about. Apparently, me not being around as I was leaving early the next morning for work was suspicious, as was the fact we'd been talking for multiple weeks, but she'd never seen my place. She gave them a pic I used on the dating app, and one of them posted it. She told me she was sorry, but that I seemed too good to be true. Her last relationship ended due to cheating, and she wanted to make sure I wasn't married or in a relationship. I told her I needed some time to think and would be in touch. I feel like that excuse feels. I feel like I would feel better about that.
Again, it really all comes down to the vibe of the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's like you got cheated on. Yeah, of course you're going to be like, is this guy playing me? But like being like, I haven't seen your house. It's been 2 weeks. It's like, that's normal. That feels
That's
normal to me.
Yeah. I think this is like a toxic friend group a little bit.
I cringe at
But
all the times.
maybe OP's love interest is not toxic. It is a red flag for sure. That was Saturday. We've been silent until today, when I woke up to dozens of messages from her saying things along the lines of, "I'm so sorry. I'm so angry with myself for this." And then the real truth: it was her that posted it. Now I actually probably wouldn't be interested.
Right. So yeah, this is now it comes to like, all right, this is just like too much. Just be real with me.
Yeah.
If you were just real with me the whole time, it'd be fine.
She wanted to come completely clean and apologize for lying, telling me she panicked when I confronted her, but she wants it all out now. She sent me screenshots, unprovoked, of the PM conversation she was having with women in the group about me. Aside from the one head case I mentioned earlier, there was nothing accusatory, but what I couldn't get over was how they were discussing me in such an open manner. It had nothing to do with whether I was single or cheating. It was stuff like, he took me to this restaurant, he drives this kind of car, this is what he's like in bed, this is what his place is like, this is how much money I think he makes. I would never talk about exes or people I've dated like that. And if a guy tried to talk to me about Danielle like that, I'd think he was an effing weirdo and tell him to stop. My two closest female friends are divided. So here I am for advice. One thinks that women need to protect themselves against predators and violence, and groups like this are necessary, which was what someone in the chat was saying. The other is angry on my behalf because the presumption of men being posted to that group are that they're cheaters or sketchy. Otherwise, why would anyone even post them there? I really don't know what to do next. I've never had to deal with anything remotely like this before. I like Danielle, but it was one date. She also lied to me about it at first. This seems like a headache, and we've never even had spicy sleep yet. Is she going to get even more paranoid after that? It doesn't feel like we're compatible. This feels like the past 3 weeks of us talking have been one massive waste of time. That actually stings because she's the first person I've really liked since my ex. There is an update and a lot more.
Yeah.
We are barely halfway through.
I think I'd still be in it after like, hey, I'm getting you checked to see if you're a cheater, or like whatever. I'd still be like, I mean, okay, I'm not. So like, I'm fine. But then it's like afterwards, it's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so angry with myself. Oh, I'm so stupid. I'd be like,
whoa,
dude, we went on one date.
I honestly think that reaction is the more a red flag reaction.
Right, exactly. That's what gets me out of there for sure.
Yeah. I think it's too soon to be this invested, and also not too soon to be this invested. I think it's too soon for there to be this many problems.
Did he do a second date or one?
And Amy Lynn said, did he confirm that he wanted a second date? I don't know. I think they were just talking. I also think like it seems like this girl Danielle has been hurt in the past. Probably. I mean, she has had someone cheat. I don't know if it doesn't seem like she's secure enough for the next relationship. I think she's
I don't think so.
I think she needs to get over some things, and I think this energy, this insecurity, I think is pouring out into this relationship. I do recognize like there is a need for these kinds of groups for women's safety, but I think if I was posted on one of those, I feel like I would feel some kind of trust being violated, especially if I didn't do anything. I think so. I think I would definitely feel weird about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows, right? I don't know anything about these groups, but I know people like to chat. Yeah.
I don't like it.
I think the reason it doesn't bother me too much is that to me, it's like just close the laptop and it's literally not even there for me. But I do think it's like, I think it'd be different if it was like one of the posts of like, hey, and then, because they only went on one date. But if someone did post me and was like, this is how much money he makes, this is where he lives, like this is what I'd be like, okay, now you actually, why are you doing this? That's crazy to do that to me.
Yeah.
But, since they only went on one date, she doesn't really have any of that information anyway.
Yeah.
But I would feel weird about that. But the solution is still the same. You just go and you close the computer and it goes away.
But I think for me, it wouldn't be that I would feel weird about that picture being out there. I would feel weird about the person that I'm entering a relationship with doing something like that. I feel like it represents like qualities that I just wouldn't be interested in. Again, like the insecurity, the overcautiousness. But maybe that's just like my preference.
No, I get you, because it'd be a game time decision for me. Yeah. It would really depend on how funny the situation is. If there's no funniness to the situation, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's got to be a little funny.
Courtney Electra says, first date unhinged, lol. But let's get into the updates. Back with an update, but firstly, a couple of quick notes based on the feedback I got. No, I'm not Patrick or David or Eric or Pascal or Brett. Thank you for the PMs asking. As much as I'd like to be a Brett, since that was my favorite wrestler as a kid.
There's still time, OP. You can change your name to Brett.
It's concerning that these messages imply this seems to be happening so much that identities can be confused. I don't care if you think my close female friend violated the sanctity of your super cool secret girls only club. As she told me, her loyalties are to me. She's known me since I was a child and knows that I didn't deserve to have my photo plastered there. I understand that those groups may be necessary in keeping women safe or finding predators, but their moderators should go harder in ensuring that it meets those goals rather than running a de facto gossip club where innocent people's personal lives are affected. I've had dozens of people reach out with very similar experiences, so perhaps your rules should reflect that rather than just keep boys out. The lunatic who wanted to sell me her cat, he seemed like a cool dude, but I just wasn't in the market for a pet. He also only had 3 legs, which made him run like a wasted sailor. That's so cute.
Oh.
All cats deserve love. I hope he got away from her. Some of you alarmingly struggle with concepts of consent. I consented to my photo appearing on a dating app. I did not consent to my photo appearing in a "is this guy trash" group. They are not the same, and the stigma and assumptions associated with both are vastly different. I really shouldn't have to explain this, but here we are. Regarding me not realizing how big this group was, 3 of the women in my life all found out about it the same way. On Valentine's Day, a radio show ran a segment on it, then got picked up by blogs and social media. It's even appeared on a local television. My friend saw it on Twitter. Another saw a "this guy was dating 12 women" post that got shared and decided to investigate. My sister was texted by her friend about it, and when they all rushed to check the group chat, there I was. Great timing. It currently has over 50,000 members. Moving on. I decided not to pursue things with Danielle. She took the post down during our radio silence, but it mainly boiled down to just not seeing her in the same light anymore. I can accept that she genuinely is sorry, but I also know how I am, and it wouldn't be fair to either of us. This is supposed to be the honeymoon period. Everything is supposed to be light and cute. Now it's just suspicion and resentment. Not gonna lie, that period when we first started talking to when I went away on my trip was really great. I looked forward to talking to her. When I would see a text, I got butterflies. When we kissed, it felt electric. Some people said what she did was such an obvious red flag that they were questioning why I was even hesitating. The reason is that I haven't felt like this in some time. My last relationship lasted 5 years after we broke up. I legitimately wondered if I could find that spark again, especially after trying dating apps here and there and not having much luck finding the right person. I do want to feel that spark again and find my person, but holding on to something that already has these problems before it even starts is the wrong move. Instead, I'm simply happy I got the experience. Now I know it's out there and possible again, just not with Daniela. But I'll be honest, I woke up today thinking, hey, you never know, maybe a couple months down the line, I'll think different and maybe we'll go grab a drink. And then I saw she had texted me.
No. In the fourth quarter.
By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Can you shoot us a little text? Shoot us a little message. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update.
Oh.
There's another relevant update.
Bam, bam, thank
we
you,
got
ma'am.
some juice still. But Dakota, break up or not? Break up or not? Or not break up? And
Yes,
stop
of
seeing her.
course.
Yeah.
Like, you stop. Like, look, it's all based on the vibe I'm approached with.
Yeah.
If the vibe is just like, hey, I gotta run a background check on you, make sure you're not like a serial cheater.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you said that in a funny voice. Okay, I'm okay with that. Literally.
Yeah.
But like, if you do that and then you like, it's like a freak out. Like, I lied to you, and I'm like, we went to we went to Panda Express. It's okay.
Yeah.
This is whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think maybe I don't think I want to pursue this because it just seems like this is going to happen the whole time, maybe.
Yeah.
And
it's
I don't
only
want
gonna
that.
It's only going to get worse. Like, this is a big red flag. She needs to figure things out more. Right now, we are 100% for breakup. But let's see.
Yeah. Clifford the Big Red Flag.
To preface, before I left the city for work, she sent me a photo with a message. Don't forget about me. It was her in a bikini on a summer beach blowing a kiss. She's quite chesty, so it's not exactly safe for work, but there was no nudity.
This woman has a chest. It's unsafe.
I opened today's text, which reads, hey, hope I'm not disturbing you, but I'd like to ask you to delete that picture I sent and not share it with anyone. What the F? I replied, the only copy of that picture is in our chat thread. Do you seriously have that low an opinion of me? To which she apologized and said she was just making sure. Fine. At first I was annoyed, but then I realized the most important thing. It was a reminder that I had made the right decision. So I made another and deleted her number.
Huzzah! Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That is a good decision.
Mhm.
That is a good decision. I think when someone shows you crazy, you run, especially early. Usually people don't show you crazy until you're, a little down the line. Someone shows you crazy early, you run.
Again, I don't even think that the cheating thing, the cheating background check is even that crazy. But it was more everything around it.
Yeah.
Everything surrounding it is what made it crazy.
It would definitely give me pause.
My girlfriend wants to go on a trip with another man alone for a week.
Pack your bags. We're going on a guilt trip.
So, I love my girlfriend, and I do trust her. But every girlfriend I've ever had has cheated on me, and I'm terribly insecure about her spending alone time with someone in a situation like this. By the way, this comes from user Worried Boyfriend. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. What are you doing? So, we have been together for 2 years now. I met her my senior year of college because my college town was her hometown. I moved up to her college town to live with her after I graduated, and I found a great job there. For months, she's been talking about us going to Maine to camp for a week for vacation with one of her best friends, let's call him Kyle, and his girlfriend. I've never met Kyle because she lives 2 hours from him now, but she was very open with me when I asked her about him. He's been one of her closest friends since middle school, and they liked each other for a bit throughout the years, and the summer after she graduated high school, she had this spice to sleep with him, but it never went anywhere because she was going to school, and he ended up meeting this other girl who's his current girlfriend, let's call her Anna, soon after, and they have been together since. So, I was all down for a couple's trip. Well, recently I found out the week they had planned, I'm being sent out of state for business and I can't take off. And now Kyle's girlfriend can't go either, so it will be just my girlfriend and Kyle on the coast of Maine camping and spending alone time together for a week. I asked my girlfriend what Anna thinks of this, and she said she's only met Anna a few times and that she knows my girlfriend and her boyfriend had a spicy past, but that it's okay because she trusts him and knows how excited my girlfriend and him are to catch up and see a new state. I want to tell her no, but I can't be that boyfriend. It's the only week she has off between the summer and fall semester, and she said her friend Kyle is moving to North Carolina for a new job in September, so she'll probably not see him for a long, long time. It wouldn't be fair to expect her to stay home, her only week off from school, because I have to go on a business trip either, but I can't help but feel it's unfair to me to run off with an old flame who's also a current friend. Just seems really off to me. I've never met this guy. I don't know his motives, and he's going to be sleeping with my girlfriend and our dog in a tent for a week. How do I tell her I don't want her to go alone together without being a controlling D-bag? Thanks, Reddit. And there is an update. Dang, I gotta say, I wouldn't go. If I was Anna,
Yeah.
I'd feel like, well, this feels wrong now. Does Anna not know that you've been cheated on in every relationship you've ever been in? You should let her know that. She needs to know. Or not Anna, that's not your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Your girlfriend needs to know, if she doesn't, that you've been cheated on in every relationship.
Yeah, and like OP, you're right. Like you can't tell her no. That's not anything that you can say to your girlfriend. Like, no, you're not allowed to go. But you can like express how weird it feels. And I mean, he did say that this is like her only weekend or week off from school. So maybe that's why they don't want to reschedule.
Well, yeah,
she won't be
it's
able to.
the full week is already planned. It'd be hard to change it. There's not really time to do it again. It's an old friend. He's gonna move away, so this probably won't happen again for a long time.
So
and it's like all those combined do make it like
Yeah.
But the way you feel, OP, is still like relevant.
Yeah, you can at least talk about it and express how you feel about it.
But there's the update. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, I was overwhelmed with responses. Thanks to everyone for the help. I decided to talk to her about my feelings and see how she dealt with them, telling her she needed to re-expand it into a group trip and not share a tent alone with him. And here's how it went. So, she comes home and she's so excited to show me the new climbing gear she bought for the trip. I tell her we need to talk about the trip and Kyle, and she looks a little worried. I prefaced the conversation asking more about her and Kyle's relationship. From what I gathered, they're closer than I thought, yet this actually reassures me. She was his rock when his dad had passed away, and he was hers when her best friend had also passed away. He has a place in her heart as a lifelong friend that no one else can fill, and I have one in hers as a lifelong partner that no one else can either. I have to suck it up and live with that. She seems to really like Anna, and Kyle apparently really likes me from their talks. They're happy the other found a great person and realized they weren't compatible anyways, and only tried it out of a loneliness thing after both losing important people. I can live with that. So I tell her I know it's impractical, but I don't want her sharing a tent with him. That's not impractical. It's 2 tents instead of 1.
It's very easy to do.
She says, that's fine. Completely reasonable of me to ask, and just wants to make me comfortable. She says she can try and pack lighter in other aspects. Cool. So then I tell her the trip itself makes me uncomfortable, and why doesn't she invite someone else? She mentions that's okay. She can invite her friend Allie, who just got back from Colorado. They can bring the 4-person tent again for them 3 and the dog if Allie wants to go. Oh, but Allie's a very hot, very promiscuous sapphic and was my girlfriend's first spically related encounter. Nope. Anyone else?
Okay, this is so funny because, like, I'm sure this girl is like fine. I'm sure these people are just friends, but it is hilarious that like, oh, like, yeah, I can bring someone again. By the way, I've hooked up with all my friends. So like, those are the only people that I can bring, are just like people that I've hooked up with.
She's literally just like that you got to be cool with it.
Yeah.
Like,
it just puts OP in a difficult position. And I see how it can be, you know, seen in a not very trustworthy way.
Yeah, but OP, I feel like still hasn't opened up about having been cheated on like that, because
Perhaps.
if they had, I can't imagine that their partner would be like, yeah, I'm also going to suggest another person that I've slept with,
Yeah, that's
because
better.
they don't know. I
Yeah.
would bet that they don't know right now.
Oh, that's crazy.
So maybe her friend Taylor, but she's kind of a drag. Oh, that's okay. You used to hook up with Taylor too. At this point, I realize it boils down to the fact that I'm jealous and I don't want my girlfriend alone with anyone who is attracted to her. Not because I don't trust her, but because I have this effed up mentality that I have to prove myself and be there to claim her or something. If I want this relationship to work, I have to force myself to get over that. This trip will help. So I tell her that, and she insists she doesn't have to go if I'm really that insecure. We can take baby steps and work on it together. No, I say, I want you to go. Enjoy your only week off. You've earned it. So we decided we are going to drive down there next weekend to Kyle's. We're going to all hang out and properly meet, eat some dinner, drink some brewskis, play Cards Against Humanity, and then Kyle and I will go out to the bars and get to know each other, and her and Anna will do whatever they want to do. And if I don't like him, I tell her and we call it off. I think this will really help and make me comfortable. In the end, my girlfriend's spiritually related past makes me uncomfortable, but I'm sure mine from my fraternity days scares the crap out of her too. But just like I only have eyes for her now, I know it's the same. She's still not going to sleep in the same tent as him and said she can probably rent some single tents from the University Outdoors Club. Way cool.
That sounds good.
Wicked awesome.
Wicked.
You guys were all divided on whether to ask her to stay or let her go, but I think we found a good compromise to make us all feel better and still let her go. We have a second update
Oh boy.
after the trip to Kyle's and Anna's.
Uh-oh. How do we think it's gonna go?
I mean, I think it's going to go good, and then OP's still going to be insecure.
Yeah.
And I just really wish we had the clarity on if you know your partner's been cheated on in every relationship they've been in, like, it's a pretty a-hole move to be like, yeah, I'm going to go alone with a previous partner.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, you know that the person you've chosen to be with now is really not going to be able to take that very well.
Yeah, like at least without any further reassurance. I mean, they did have
A lot
that
of discussion. Yeah,
conversation.
you got to real talk it out.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the second update, see what happens.
Let's do it.
So we drove the 2 hours to Kyle's place so I could meet him and Anna. I was pretty nervous to meet this guy, but he was actually really nice. We all hung out for a bit, pounded back some drinks, talked, and played a card game. I paid a lot of attention to the dynamic between the three of them. My girl had said she didn't know Anna too well, but when she got there, she ran up and gave them both a hug, and you could swear her and Anna had been friends forever. Her and Kyle reminisced a lot about high school and caught up, and Anna didn't look uncomfortable at all about their friendship. So we're just hanging out for a while all getting to know each other, and I had a good time. We get some pizza, and our girls are getting pretty wasted, Kyle and I decide to head out to a bar, and our girls are going to go to some party since Anna had no clue where her ID was. So we go, and this kid is buying me drinks the whole night. Turns out we have a lot in common, and he felt like quite a kindred spirit. We talked about music and skating and had a pretty good talk, and he told me he's proposing to Anna once him and my girlfriend get back from Maine, and how excited he is to start a new life with her in another state, and yada, yada, yada.
That's exciting.
I don't think I'm afraid anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just me.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid anymore, bro. We're bros.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's fine. It's exciting.
That's usually what all it takes for guys.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
It's
like,
oh man, he's chill.
I got the sixth sense,
Agree
dude.
with it.
When I've been in situations,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, oh, that guy's definitely like in steal your girl mentality. Like, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah.
That guy's not.
It's
That guy
suspicious.
would push me in front of a train.
Oh, wow.
That guy's not. That guy's not.
Yeah.
But you can always, not always.
You can get a vibe.
Some people can intuitively sense when someone's like up to no good.
Yeah.
So the more drinky poos he had, the more he went on about how wonderful she was, which was pretty nice, I guess. He also talked a lot about how he's so sad we couldn't go anymore because he was looking forward to backpacking with us all, and it just won't be the same without Anna there, and how my girlfriend says it won't be the same without me there. One point, there was a group of these really wasted girls trying to talk to us and invite them to their place to hang out, and he pretty much told them to F off. When they left, he went on about how he hates girls at the bar scene and how on earth could people possibly find a connection with someone in one night. He tried to reassure me him and my girlfriend had no feelings for each other, and them hooking up was a really effed up point in their life, and he's upset he even jeopardized a childhood friendship to mix something like that in the picture at the time. That his dad had just passed away and she had just lost her best friend, and that they were just effed up, lost, lonely, and desperately trying to fill a void that really couldn't be filled at that point. He also told me he's really glad she found me and that I make her so happy, and that he hasn't seen her so happy in all his life, and that he really cares about her, my wife. So he's glad she's got someone who makes her light up the way I do. So we go to another bar, both run into some friends, and play some pool. This kid just kept buying shots against my requests, and I don't really remember too much after this. I just remember waking up in the middle of the night on Kyle's futon alone, rolling in the deep. It's like 4 a.m. I get up to use the bathroom to see where my effing girlfriend and Kyle and Anna are. His bedroom light's on, and I hear these really weird noises, like gasping noises.
Uh-oh.
What? No. I'm starting to worry. Get off the futon, almost trip over Kyle, who's passed out on the floor. Okay, go into his bedroom, and there's my girl and his girl in his bed. You know where this is going, right? They were watching A Walk to Effing Remember and crying and holding each other and
my
wiping tears from
gosh.
each other's faces.
Stop it, OP!
Stop it, OP! No!
Can't believe you set us up like that. Oh my gosh. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was really painting a picture, putting us in his shoes. That was really good writing, OP.
You know what you're doing.
But oh my goodness.
You
I
little
was stressed.
trickster. I can't make this crap up. Apparently, we ended up going to this party after and meeting up with the girls and all doing a bunch of stuff together. I think everything went better than expected. When we got back home, Anna and my girl were texting constantly about how they wished they lived closer and it's so rare to find girls they get along with and all that jazz. So I decided, yeah, I'm definitely going to let her go on this trip. And I did.
Good. Not that it's something that you like have authority over anyway, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that you were comfortable with her going on the trip. Better way to say it. Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah. She ended up borrowing 2 single-person backpacker tents from people in her university camping club she's friends with, and off she went. I had a great time on my work trip. They stopped at an e-cafe once they got out of the woods to send us a big album of pictures, and they looked like they had a lot of fun. They found this place on the coast where the sand was all black, and my girlfriend brought some home for me, as well as a really nice handmade hunting knife she bought from some old biker dude they met. They even took the time to draw this big picture in the sand that said, "We miss you, OP and Anna," which I thought was sweet.
Aw.
I can say I truly, honestly believe no form of betrayal happened from either party on that trip. This guy seemed like a really genuine guy when I visited. He posted pictures a few days ago of him proposing to his girlfriend and even texted me that he can't wait to see me and my girl at the wedding next summer. Anna and my girl still text all the time, and I really just find it hard to believe that A, my girl would do that to Anna and still be her friend, and B, Kyle would cheat on someone he wants to marry, and C, that my girlfriend and Kyle did actually have feelings for each other father. And D, that Kyle was lying to me. And E, by the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, literally any place you can listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you've got the whole world in your hands.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
you do.
We have a little bit more story here.
I like where this is like finishing up. This is great.
I think they did kind of everything right about this.
Yeah. Meeting up ahead of time to have them all meet is like
Yeah.
the best way that it could have gone, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. And
So yippee.
it's true. I think Cassandra in the chat said something like, I still wouldn't be okay if I didn't know these people. I think that's a really good point. It's like you can't really get
Yeah.
a vibe on someone until you're like face to face with them, like real time.
Yeah.
You know, that's where you pick up the vibe.
Yeah.
You pick up the vibe. Everyone has a vibe.
Yep.
Everyone has energy.
Yep.
You can kind of, some people feel it easier than others, but everyone's got it.
True.
But let's finish the energy of this story. So I know for certain that she would have told me if anything happened, and I really just didn't get that vibe from these people. I could see why he was her best guy friend. He was a really genuine, giving soul. I'm really happy that I got over my insecurities and trusted her. I think this has made me a lot more secure in our relationship, and I don't think this was an emotional betrayal at all. I've learned to let her have her own life a bit more, and letting go has lifted a big weight off my shoulders. We're currently planning for a short winter trip to the Smoky Mountains over her Christmas break, just the two of us. And I got my promotion, and I'm taking over the office in October. Life is good. And that is the end of that story.
I started seeing my ex-girlfriend's mother, but now she wants to try again.
Well, it's too late. I already got it from the source, babe.
You want to talk about mothers? Trigger warning, mentions of abuse. I started dating my ex, let's call her Anne, when I was a sophomore in college. We met my sophomore fall. She was a junior who had taken a year off, and by spring we were dating. Everything was going really, really well. It was my first real relationship, her second. We took vacations, cooked every night, and partied. Our spicy sleep life was off the charts fun. When she graduated the following year, she took a job in the city where we were in school, a northeastern city in the U.S. I'm from the East Coast. She's from the West Coast. Noise. By the way, this comes from Terrible X No Excuse. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. After that year, her fellowship ended and she went back west and I went home. We tried to do the long distance relationship for 2 years and eventually the distance wore us down and we were fighting all the time over the phone. She'd go out with a friend and I'd think the guy was up to something and she'd grow wary of my childhood friends who were women. Typical immature long distance relationship BS. I should mention at this point that nobody cheated on anyone ever. It was just a disaster of jealousy where all our worst traits came out.
It's never happened. It's never happened to anyone ever.
We called it off about a year ago and agreed to remain relatively friendly, speaking every week or so as we were still at heart people who got along. Around the time of our breakup, Anne's parents officially went through with their divorce.
Okay. No cheating, though.
Which had been a long time coming. Her mom and dad, despite this, had always been wonderful to me, kind and loving in ways that my parents never were. Anne's mom, Tara, took a job that required her to fly between both coasts to my city. Anne said that her mom wanted to get dinner or lunch with me when she was in town. And I was okay with that because we had always been close and she's been in my life for 7 years. And Anne and I were still incredibly close, even to the point of discussing other dates we'd been on.
This is gonna be so bad. I need protection.
I met Tara for lunch. It's awkward, then great. And then at the end, she hugs me and tells me she's sorry it didn't work out with me and her daughter. I felt that she really meant it.
Oh, she did.
About a month later, 6 months exactly after our breakup, Anne calls at around midnight. Her mom was stranded in my city due to extreme weather and couldn't find a place to crash. Anne offers to PayPal me $100 if I make my apartment, roommate was out of town, presentable, and offer her mother my bedroom for the night. I would really rather not, but I get that she wouldn't have asked it if it weren't an emergency, and I tell her to keep the money. Her mom has done so much for me over the years anyway. Ooh. Well, Tara comes over. I offer her a drink and say,
Why?
I'm off to bed in my roommate's room. Good night.
Why did you offer her a drink? Why?
Hopefully it was just a tea. She asks if I'll join her. I do. I'm pretty sure at that point that I know what's going on and do nothing to find it. Ooh. Ooh.
So it happened immediately. So you knew this
Stop.
was going to happen before. You had to have sussed these vibes
Yeah,
out
nah,
at some
he
point
knew.
in some way.
I feel like he knew when they went on that little coffee date, you know?
You had to have done something.
Our first night together was fun, but really awkward at times. Yeah, because you dated her daughter, you weirdo. Waking up in the morning was sort of a combination of hilarious and awful as we both got up with texts on our screen from Anne. Oh,
Yeah, there's
Ah.
actually nothing hilarious about that, buddy.
dude. Oh my God, poor Anne. Tara makes a habit of staying at my place while she's in town, renting a hotel through her job, but either inviting me over or coming to stay with me.
Why do you say making a habit like it's not you too,
Doing
buddy?
that. We have spent the next 6 months sleeping together talking about stuff. Honestly, I could never see myself with her due to the age difference, but I really sincerely enjoyed my time with her. Here's the problem. Anne called me this evening to tell me she's accepted a job in my city. We've both been in our own therapy this whole year. We've matured, etc. She wants to give it another chance.
Oh, yeah, OP's matured, all right.
I have never, ever stopped holding a torch for her. Ew, that's even worse.
You need to go to jail, bro.
You need to go to therapy.
I don't- like, whatever, I'm afraid of you.
And in some messed up part, that was reflected in my actions with Tara. Gross. I absolutely love Anne, and if this hadn't happened, would be thrilled about her coming.
This guy needs the wallet from Pulp Fiction because he's a bad MF.
And would want to spend forever with her. I have always felt this way, but was blinded during the long distance relationship period that was just a cluster F of crappy emotions and anger. I legitimately want to do this. I don't think her mom would turn into mom/Mistress Zilla and blow up my spot. She has frequently in the past few months noted how weird it is that Anne and I aren't together. What? Sorry, Tara has been saying to you while you guys are sleeping together that it's weird that you and her daughter aren't together? What? Ew. Have I just done something so absolutely terribly wrong that I don't deserve to resume my old relationship with Anne? Do I need to tell her?
The fact that you don't know and you're asking strangers leads me to believe you have never felt anything ever. Because how could you not know banging your ex-girlfriend's mom is sort of like a hard line you don't cross?
And also, it's a hard line that you're never going to get back together ever.
Right.
Because
once you bang her mom, it's over forever.
It's over. If you tell her, she's going to be like, that's awful, bye. 2, if you start dating her and then you don't tell her and then she finds out, because she will find out eventually.
Imagine that. He probably would do that. Little psycho. He would do. He'd be like, this will never come to light.
I really don't want to. I'm at a loss. I don't know how I should proceed. Obviously, I do selfish, unnecessary crap, and Anne would be heartbroken to know that I've had months of spicy sleep with her mom. And what I want is to never tell Anne to get back with her and be normal. You can't. I don't know if I'm able/deserve to do that. Any help or advice would be great. You literally can't. You just can't.
And if you could, like, I would be like, you need to be studied.
Just recently, I called Tara. Immediately, she knew why I was calling. We don't ever use the phone to communicate. She said she's known Anne was moving to my city for about 3 weeks, but didn't want to tell me in case Anne didn't plan on asking me to get back with her. Tara says that regardless of what I do, this is probably a good moment to cut off our intimate relationship and stop talking. And I agree. She says that she'll understand if I decide to go through with things with Anne, but requires that I tell her first. She says she deserves crappiest mom of the century award, yup, and will batten down the hatches if her daughter decides to cut her off. I could really, really, really use some help figuring out what to say to Anne. There is an update. Leave.
I don't think you should say anything.
I don't think you should say anything. I think that you should say, hey, sorry, I'm at a different place in my life. We shouldn't get back together.
You
That's
and
it.
her mom need to keep this mess that you've made your mess. Don't
Yeah.
make this Anne's mess. She doesn't deserve that.
She doesn't deserve that.
She doesn't deserve that.
Like, yeah, I advocate telling the truth, but like, please leave Anne out of this.
you should probably move cities.
Yeah. She's coming, you leave. There is an update. I read all your comments and responded to most. Some were very, very discouraging and others were neutral. Honestly, the ones that hit closest to home were the ones from women telling me how they would feel if their ex had slept with their mother. Bad. Last night, I called Tara, my ex's mom, and told her that Anne, my ex, had asked to get back together with me. Tara suggested we end our arrangement, stop speaking, and that I tell Anne, although there isn't even a remote chance that she'll be down to get back with me. Tara said that if I choose not to tell Anne, then she will find a moment to tell her. This wasn't said in an ultimatum-y manner. I decided that I needed to tell Anne for better or worse, though probably for worse. I couldn't wait to tell her, and I got really anxious. I knew she has a long shift today that starts at around 6 a.m. and that she would awake at around 4:30 to get ready. I called her. I know some of you will call me a total wiener for not being able to wait until a more convenient time or when she didn't have a long shift came around. But honestly, I really couldn't. I've always been impatient that way. Yeah, you started dating her freaking mom.
I've always been impatient that
right
way.
after you broke up with her.
You guys got 1% awareness.
I've actually occasionally over the past year gotten in the habit of calling her for this shift because I'm at 3 time zones ahead of her. So she thought I must have been calling for that. One user suggested that I write a script. I plan to say something along the lines of, I have something important I'd like to discuss, and it pertains to your move and your intentions with me after you move. This is really difficult for me to say, and please believe me when I tell you that I really regret doing this and putting you and your family in this position. I started a spicy relationship with your mom earlier this year during her trips to my city. We've been seeing each other during her trips to the city. You and I probably won't be getting back together after this, and I'm ready to answer any questions you might have.
I would genuinely rather fight a gorilla than have to read that text.
I would crash out. Would you rather hear this from your mom or from your ex?
Like, I'd quite literally rather jam 2 sticks into my ears.
Yeah, parent or ex.
This is just something no one needs to know, ever. This is a burden that now has to be bore by OP and Anne's mom. Anne should not have to have this thought in her brain for 1 second.
I would not want to ever know this personally.
It is actually the selfish thing to tell her, not to keep it a secret. Keeping it a secret makes it your deal. It's your weight.
I'm not sure if I stuck to the script because everything honestly became a little blurry. Anyway, I blurted out something similar to the above, and then there was a long, awkward pause. Finally, Anne said, "Yeah, boy, I know." At that moment, I almost started crying because she hadn't called me that nickname in a year, and I just felt really crappy about what I had done. She still wants to get back together with you?
Yo, that's
after knowing that her mom was banging you?
That's wild, man. I'm sorry.
Anne.
Opie has to be hot and good in bed. There's no way.
What?
This has to be a plot, right? What movie or TV show plot does this align with?
Freaking Freaky Friday?
This has to be.
No, this is some corn.
This has to be like one of those posts where someone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna write like a pop culture story, but I'm gonna write it like it's a Reddit story and see if anyone notices."
Apparently, her mom had been less intelligent about technology and didn't know how to log out of Gmail fully. Anne has basically known shortly after her mom first spent the night at my place. She spent the next 2 days throwing up and sobbing nonstop. Apparently, she was ready to cut us both off. Yeah. And then started to think about it differently. What? Her dad, she remembered, was a pretty harmful husband. Her mom and he hadn't had spicy sleep in a decade, and her mom was constantly getting hurt. And she figured that her mom was looking for something fun and freeing, and that she, Anne, preferred that her mom not be getting it from someone who was a total crap sandwich of a human being. Apparently, I'm not a crap sandwich. What? She's like, well, better the devil you know. What? She said she never figured on coming east and knew her mom probably wouldn't have done it unless she needed it. She also said she noticed a spring in her mom's step.
She said, "Oh, I remember when I had that spring in my step. She must be banging my ex."
She's got that one pep in her step that OP only can make you have. That's
and that her mom had started dating a few nicer older guys, perhaps as a result. Anne said that she's been a wreck about this all year and that she hates that her mom can see me, but that she can't. She cries a lot thinking about it. She still loves me. She said that she sort of hoped that I wouldn't say anything and would just allow her to fly over and get back together with her and that we could pretend it never happened, but that it seemed unrealistic. She also said that she's furious that her mom was going to let her move without telling her first and that she and her mom's relationship is going to be strained for the foreseeable future. Yeah. She doesn't want to be my girlfriend. She wants to come in person and see how she feels and go on dates with me versus immediately jumping back into something. She feels like this would be a good way to start fresh after the way we ended things, and I agree. If we do get back together, there are a few rules, most of which involve her mom. Block her mom in all venues. Never tell her dad, and take this with me to the grave.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that although it sounds like you guys have a list of things, I don't think that that's realistic. I don't think you're going to be able to effectively implement those strategies in your day-to-day lives.
I don't think this is good. Don't be in a relationship together.
This is insanity.
I mean, like,
cut
I'm
your
sorry.
losses, you freakazoids. What are we doing?
I'm sorry. You're telling me that, I mean, like, hopefully you never tell anyone this, but, like, imagine you guys have kids and they're like, where's our grandma? Where's our grandma? And
well, grandma makes dad remember certain things he shouldn't.
The moment I tell anyone we know about this, she and I are done. Externally, it needs to never have happened. She also got access to all my Facebook texts, emails for a few months and gets to look at my OKC profile, which I'm obviously going to deactivate immediately.
But so none of that makes any sense. Like, no one gets to know. This is we're all going to base everything off of a lie. And as long as we pretend like this never ever happened, it'll work. Just don't do it. It's not going to work. Don't do that.
Anne also says that she understands how effed up this is, but she also likes me and misses me. She's also been able to compartmentalize and see this more as her mom's fault than mine. There will come a day when she starts blaming you. I'm not sure that that's really fair. I tried to press her on why, and I couldn't get a straight answer, so there's that. Oops, I'll need that at some point.
Well, I would wager that it has something to do with the fact that finding this out would probably break your brain. So finding some way to make it okay is all we can really do once we know about it.
By the way, all you can do is listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. Yay!
Woo!
Yay!
Yeah.
There is a little bit left to the story, but oh my goodness, you guys should not be together.
I am beautiful Marge Simpson. Yeah, no, this is like literally the most blatantly, like, totally effed situation that should not be pursued.
Yeah.
That I think I've seen on the show.
Yeah.
And, like, clearly, to each their own, I would never want to know if my ex-girlfriend slept with my dad. Ever.
Unless I'm, like, about to get into a relationship with him. I'm like, I have to get back into a relationship. Then be like, so hold on. But don't tell me this.
Yeah.
If there's no chance that I'm getting back into a relationship with them, I don't want to know.
It's not my cross, dude. Let them carry that weight with them, because that's a weight on their shoulders. I don't deserve to carry it. I didn't do anything wrong there.
I don't want to know. Somebody here has said that I won't be invited to Thanksgiving, and that's probably true. I was expecting screaming and crying and some vomiting, and I got only a little crying. Honestly, this is better than I could have expected, but I am also very aware that the fact that Anne will probably decide she can't date me once she arrives, or will eventually break up with me when thoughts of her mother and me having spicy sleep plague her, and they will. They will.
Of course they will.
She thinks they won't. They will.
You think she's just going to be able to forget all of this?
Any advice is welcome. Any harsh words are also welcome. That's the end of that story, folks. Wow.
Your naivety that this could work is like the level of like a little 4-year-old boy with the big oversized circular lollipop.
Yeah.
And a spinny hat.
Yep.
That's how naive you're acting right now.
Yup.
My ex-husband has a new girlfriend, and I didn't expect to feel this jealous.
Sometimes jealousy comes for us all.
My 41 female ex-husband, 42 male, and I divorced when our son was 7. Fast forward to now, our son's 15, 16 in a few months. Somehow we managed to go from divorced and done to actually being like pretty good friends. Like we choose to hang out sometimes, not only when it involves our son, and we get along better than ever. It's worked out way better than I ever expected. And by the way, this comes from user Throwaway OK Barry. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my ex has started seeing someone new. They've been together for a little while now, but it's started to get more serious lately. I've met her, but don't know her well. My son is around her a lot more than I am, and he likes her a lot. I hate that this bothers me.
You're human, man. You're human.
I'm only human. Like, I'm genuinely embarrassed by how irritated I felt hearing him say how nice she is, how fun she is, how she makes his dad happy. I plastered on a smile and said all the right things, but inside I was surprised by how jealous I felt. She doesn't like that my ex and I are friends. She's fine with us communicating for our son, but the idea of us hanging out just because we want to is an absolute no in her book. And he's started to pull back a little.
Oh.
I mean, it sounds like she's right to say that, though.
Yeah, it's totally reasonable. It is a little bit different because they're co-parenting, so like there does have to be contact there.
When
I understand.
She's stippy. She's like, it's okay for that.
I
It's
understand where she's coming from. Sometimes you go from being able to hang out with someone a lot, and then they get a partner, and then they obviously have to hang out with that person a lot more, and it is kind of an adjustment that you just have to work through. So like, don't beat yourself up, OP.
He's not saying it out loud, but I can tell he's trying to adjust our dynamic to keep the peace in his new relationship. It stings. Months ago, we planned a special trip for our son's 16th birthday, just the 3 of us. It was meant to be a shared memory, kind of family-ish experience to mark a big milestone. It revolves around something my son is obsessed with, and something my ex and I both enjoy too. But now the girlfriend's coming, despite having no interest in the activity. I found out from my son, not my ex, which made it even worse. I haven't confronted him about it yet because I don't know how to bring it up without sounding jealous or possessive, but I'm honestly upset. It feels like a sacred little space that used to belong to the 3 of us is slowly being taken over. And I feel helpless to stop it without looking like the crazy ex-wife who can't let go. I didn't expect to feel this jealous, and I really don't want to come off as the crazy ex. But honestly, it feels like I'm losing way more than just a friendship here. I've worked really hard to be mature, supportive, and emotionally steady in this co-parenting journey. How do I manage these feelings without making it weird or damaging the progress we've all made? How do I set boundaries, if I even can, without turning this into a drama-filled mess? And we have some comments.
I just think that first of all, you have to understand that things are going to change. Like, you will not be in the same type of friendship or relationship that you were prior to the girlfriend showing up. It's just going to change. His priorities are going to change. And that's just how it goes, unfortunately. I don't think that you could necessarily set the boundary of like, OP, like she can't come with us to this thing. Because I don't think she's going to like that very much, that her partner is hanging out with his ex, even if it is a family thing and going on trips and stuff. But I do think that there are certain boundaries that you could set and say like, hey, we need to maybe see each other less while this kind of transition happens. There are certain things I would like to do with our child, when she's not there. I think that you can talk about it.
I like everything that you said, but I disagree that because the girlfriend was like, I don't want you just hanging out, but if it's like something about your son or you're doing a co-parenting thing, and that's what this is.
That's true.
It's the 16th. It's a birthday. They're a family, like, and you being there as the girlfriend, like, is kind of irrelevant or like unnecessary because, like, if I'm the girlfriend and I'm in this position, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to let him go on this trip for his kid's birthday with his ex-wife, who I feel like is weird vibes. And then I'm going to see how he acts when he gets back. And if I think he was in any way
unfaithful to me, it's over because I don't want to be with someone who will be unfaithful to me. Comment 1, in some sense, you've been living in a bubble where the idea of uninterrupted family persisted even through separation and divorce. It was only sustainable as long as nobody else was in the picture. Every situation is different, of course, but as a general thing, if relationships tolerate being amicable with exes for the purpose of shared children, tolerance tends to fade when those children aren't directly involved. The exclusive family unit isn't so exclusive anymore. Time doesn't stand still as much as you've wanted it to. In situations where exes are so involved in each other's lives, if there comes a point when one needs to pull back, there's often a second sting. There was a separation, a divorce, and now the palpable reality of your ex getting serious with someone else. Ask yourself something: when is the best time to let go? Then, now, sometime later when the weight of that reality becomes too much? If this brings more heartache, no matter what, it is best to sever that imaginary cord now, or wait until it stretches and snaps anyway. OP says, we didn't go into divorce intending to stay friends. We did commit to being the best co-parents we could be and to being nice to each other for the sake of our son. We mainly got divorced for the sake of him. We argued a lot, but I'm not 100% sure we would have actually divorced if we didn't have a child involved. Eventually, it got to the point where I decided it could not be healthy for our son, and even then it was hard for us to actually go through with the divorce. We didn't start out as good friends immediately following the split, but it just sort of happened over time, and it didn't seem like it caused any harm for us to be friends. I have never heard that one before. We need a divorce to save the child.
Well, I think...
And we wouldn't have divorced if we didn't have one. I have not heard that. I mean...
I don't know. That is...
Usually
maybe they
it's-
were, maybe they... I don't know.
Usually it's the opposite.
Stresses of parenthood and feeling like they couldn't
I'm
live
not
in
even
the
saying
same
it's
house.
wrong. I'm just saying we don't usually see that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they must have been fighting like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
bad if they say we got divorced for the kid.
Yeah.
So there's a reply here. Did you move on? OP says, I thought I did. And there's an update.
Ooh, well, that's super telling because now OP's kind of giving this new layer of like, I'm not over him as much as I thought I was.
Yeah.
Which does change a lot.
Yeah.
In which case, you need to set boundaries for yourself of saying, hey, I don't think we can continue on in the same type of friendship because I'm not over you.
Update. At the beginning of June, I asked for help with navigating these feelings I have regarding my son, my ex-husband, and his new girlfriend. Thanks to everyone who replied. Even though I don't think I got a ton of specific actionable advice, I got a lot of opinions and some solid advice. I definitely heard the recurring message loud and clear. Therapy. Some of the comments were genuinely helpful in nudging me to start unpacking the root of what I'm actually feeling. So I appreciate that. Will I go to therapy right now? Honestly, probably not immediately, but we'll see. Most of all of the issues are things I just need to work through on my own, but I decided to just ask my ex-husband directly about the whole concert/birthday trip situation. I told him that our son had mentioned his girlfriend is now coming on the trip, and I needed clarity about what the plan was so I could figure out hotel stuff. I kept it as neutral and non-confrontational as possible. Truthfully, I don't want her to come, and I'm still sort of seething over her being there. He admitted he hadn't told me yet because he was still hoping she'd back out. He said he doesn't want her to come and that it's going to make things awkward and that she kind of inserted herself into the plan and made it really clear she expected to be invited. Buddy, where's our spine? That's when you go, hey, actually, this is just for like my son and his parents, which are me and his mom.
Conspiracy theory. I think they both still like each other.
He felt like he couldn't say no without it hurting their relationship. He even said, you think I want to go on a trip with both of you? I suggested that maybe I should give her my concert ticket and buy a separate one so I wouldn't have to sit near them and she wouldn't have to stay back at the hotel. Or maybe I should just plan to take my son to a completely different date on the tour altogether since it was probably going to be very awkward for all of us, especially since he was now claiming he also didn't want her to come. Where is the demand that, hey, if you don't want that, tell her. Use your big boy pants, put them on, and tell your girlfriend this is a trip for me, my son, and his mom. I don't want to buy a ticket and sit separately. I don't want to plan a whole other trip to a different tour date. The thought makes me really mad, but I felt like the adult thing to do was at least suggest it. Maybe I just wanted to see what his reaction would be. He immediately said there was no way I was giving my ticket to her or sitting separately. He said there's no way I'm backing out or going to a different show. We've been planning this for almost a year. We did agree to cancel the shared hotel room and book separate rooms. I didn't bring up the fact that his girlfriend isn't thrilled with us spending time together. I feel like that's something I just need to accept. Most people in new relationships with someone who has a close relationship with an ex would probably feel the same. It's uncomfortable, but I get it, and I'll deal with those feelings on my own. What's hardest for me, though, is how much I still default to texting or talking to him.
You guys are still in love with each other.
We used to talk daily, not just about things related to our son, but everything.
Y'all are in love.
They're talking about, would you like me if I was a worm?
Would you like me as your wife if I were a worm?
He's been my best friend for over 20 years, and before anyone jumps in and says I sound like the obsessive ex calling him that, he has said the same about me. I haven't had another best friend in a really long time. I had 2 close girlfriends years ago, but both of those friendships are long gone, not due to any sort of falling out, but due to reasons I don't want to get into here. Since then, I've struggled to find another close female friend, someone I really connect with on that deeper level. I have friends, just nobody like that. I'd say my ex-husband is the person I'm most myself with and the person I'm closest to in the world, so yeah, my ex is still that person. And I'm starting to realize that while I don't want him back romantically, I do see him as mine. Not in a possessive, malicious way, but in that I think I've just never fully adjusted to him being someone with a life completely separate from mine. It's like he's still a character in my story, not somebody with an entire life of his own. Ew, gross. I did not like that. Hated that sentence. I'm also trying to take the advice of getting to know his girlfriend while also trying not to over-involve myself in their lives. I don't want to become best friends with my ex-husband's girlfriend. That just sounds uncomfortable to me. I spent some time over at his house today and she was there. They don't live together yet, but he watched my dog for me overnight because I had a work event to go to. Well, it's my son's dog too, so the dog basically went over to his dad's with him. They have a splash pad for the dogs over there, so we were playing around with the dogs in the backyard. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this in your backyard or wherever you happen to be, like geographically. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and type in OK Storytime, and you'll find the archive with over 2,000 episodes to listen to.
I think everyone's in denial here.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a river in Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Girlfriend's in denial about being jealous. Husband's in denial about loving his girlfriend. And you're in denial about loving your ex-husband.
So he starts asking me things like, top 5 albums of all time, go. Then we get into a friendly argument about our favorite albums, which evolved into top 5 guitarists, etc. And these are all the things we get along about. I suddenly got the sense that she was not happy about our conversation since she doesn't seem to care about those things and couldn't participate in the conversation.
Dude.
I tried to steer the conversation in another direction so that she wasn't left out, but I'm terrible at making small talk. Well, it sounds like you're great at doing it with your ex-husband. I decided to make my excuses to politely leave at that point. So now I guess it's just a matter of figuring out how you start emotionally detaching from someone who's been my closest person for so long, especially when you still co-parent and have to interact regularly.
Wow.
How do I detach? I never detached after we got divorced, even though I thought I had. And that's the end of that story. Y'all got a crush on each other.
The thing is that, like, everyone, going back to everyone saying that the girlfriend is controlling and stuff, I think she is jealous for a reason.
It sounds like she's jealous.
I think that the OP and her ex-husband are, like, still flirting unbeknownst to them, apparently. And the girlfriend's watching this and going, you guys are into each other. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, sometimes when someone looks at someone else, you can just get a sense of, by the way that their eyes maybe light up when someone talks to them about something.
That's the eyes, Chico.
My friend's girlfriend broke things inside her home, so I called the police.
You can't be doing that.
Don't do it. It's not good. Hi, guys. This is a bit of a long story. So for some background, a few months ago, my best friend Mark, 27 male, moved his girlfriend, Heather, 25 female, in with us. My wife, Cindy, a 27 female, and I, 26 male, were okay with this. By the way, this comes from Relationship Firm 8474, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So Mark and I have been friends ever since elementary school. Right before Heather moved in, she got herself pretty wasted and ended up in a screaming match with her sister and throwing things at Mark.
Yikes. And he wanted to move in with her?
Oh my.
Mm.
This is appalling.
Yeah.
We weren't too happy about this. But Mark said he talked to her and she wouldn't get to that point again.
I don't think I would let someone move in after hearing this story, personally.
Yeah, kind of not a move, you know. If someone with long blonde hair, you know, was just being super manic, you would not let them
keep that person out of my house.
Kick them out.
They can't move in.
Never. 2 weeks ago, we were all hanging out and having some drinks. Mark and Heather were going a little crazy, but they're adults, so whatever. Well, Cindy and I, my wife, decided we were going to start on dinner since Heather was pretty unintelligible and it was like 9 p.m. Mark started also working on dinner, so I hung out in the living room while my wife, Cindy, went to our room. Heather goes into their room. Then she comes back out and heads outside for like 20 minutes, and I asked if she was good and got a small mumble. Heather comes back in, goes into the kitchen, and then goes back to their room again. At this point, Mark is done making their dinner and goes into their room. Mark comes out and sits with me in the living room, and we are talking about my brother's upcoming bachelor party. We then hear banging coming from their room.
She's got Dobby up there, like, hitting his head. And she's like, Dobby, stop!
Dobby, stop!
And then they come in. She's like, oh, it was me. I was doing that.
Mark went to go check on Heather, but she had blocked the door. Okay? Heather starts screaming and yelling, continuing to slam things around. After about 10 minutes of hearing Heather yelling and Mark trying to calm her down, I went in and told Heather that she needed to calm down. She starts yelling some really weird and extremely discriminatory things that I won't put here. Heather is half Hispanic, half African American, by the way. She starts getting louder and tearing things off the walls. I told her she needed to go outside to calm down. She refused and started picking up their bed and slamming it down.
How strong is this girl? She's picking up their bed?
Heather is the Hulk.
She's like, ah!
That's
intense.
We need to take her toxic, abusive anger and strength towards something good like saving the planet.
Fighting, yeah.
What's going on here?
Get her in the new Avengers.
Stopping the aliens. I told her if she didn't stop that we would call the cops so she could calm down and go somewhere else where she wasn't tearing things up. She just got louder and slammed the bed even more. I told Cindy to call the cops and tell them that we needed Heather gone for the night.
Gone for good.
2 cops show up and ask the 3 of us to step outside while they try and talk to Heather, who is just continuing yelling. Then it goes a little quiet, and I can see through our screen door, I see Heather try the good old 1-2 diddly-do on one of the cops.
No way.
And with how strong she is, they're done for.
Oh, dude. She's just going to break the door off and just lunge it at him. She
starts running.
They all run inside, and we can hear Heather screaming and yelling still. 10 minutes later, they bring her outside in one of those cop bodysuit things they use when someone is struggling and won't stop. They put her in one of the cars and are standing talking to each other. We can hear them saying that she got combative, threw stuff, which hit a cop, and tried hitting one of them as well. They cart her off and tell us themselves that she is being arrested and ask if we want to press charges. Since she didn't do anything to us, we said no.
What? Okay. I mean, didn't she break a bunch of stuff now?
She destroyed the room.
Yeah, it feels like she did something.
Like, has to be, like, demolished.
Yeah. I mean, with how strong she is, there's no recovering anything in there.
I mean, you could literally just be like, yeah, we just want to press charges simply for the value of things in the room or something. I think that's
absolutely.
Like very like you're still like
Super
serving
reasonable.
justice and being like kind, quote unquote. I don't know. The cops left and we cleaned up the mess in the living room and then hung out with Mark to make sure that he was okay. We have some quick relevant comments. Commenter number 1 says, yes, you're the a-hole for not pressing charges. Without that, Mark is going to think it's okay to have her back in your house. Even if you tell him no, he may have her around when you're not home. Mark may be your friend, but Heather is not. And who cares about Mark's feelings about your property? What about your property? Is Mark going to pay for the damages his hopefully ex-girlfriend incurred? Without pressing charges, you'll have to sue her for damages, and a judge is going to ask why you didn't press charges. She'll certainly get jail time for trying to be harmful to an officer and resisting arrest, but pressing charges would add to her jail time and having to compensate you for damages, and would teach her a hard lesson that she needs to learn. And Mark needs a new girlfriend. He's the a-hole for asking if she could move in knowing her history of violence. We're going to respond to that right after OP. OP responds to that and says, before the cops left, all we had noticed was the papers all over the living room and her own stuff she had trashed in their room. So no, we didn't feel like pressing charges over some papers and her own stuff that got messed up. It sounded like she did way more damage than just some papers.
Well, I guess now OP is saying when we first showed up, it looked like it was just papers,
Right.
and the cops probably said, like, hey, do you want to press charges? And they were like, oh, it's just her stuff.
Yeah.
And then realizing, oh, it's actually much more.
Commenter number 2 says, did you at least have her trespassed so she can't come back? Let her in with a cop standing by so she can get her stuff, and then have her gone for good. If her boyfriend doesn't like it, he can go too. OP says she had a no contact order placed against her by the district attorney. And when she comes to get her stuff, an officer will be there at the same time. Cindy got the number of the DA so we can request that. Commenter number 3 says, I think you should let Mark know that she has an anger issue when she drinks. And if this happens again, neither of them will be living there. I mean, he needs to realize that she needs help. If he says anything but I agree, you might need to rethink Mark living with you. I have a feeling she will be back and will create more of a problem. And OP responds because we haven't gotten his take on like whether he's going to let Mark stay.
Yeah, we
yet.
haven't found out. I don't know. OP seems very forgiving.
Very forgiving.
Yeah.
OP says, I tried to talk to him after he decided he was going to stay. He had some past trauma from an ex-stepdad doing the same thing to his mom, but apparently Mark isn't ready to listen. I can't force him, so I just have to step back and watch him crash and burn while she steers.
Wait, he's not breaking up with her?
It seems like it.
I don't understand.
Any chances that Mark might be insane too? Is he going to break up with Heather? OP says he's insane too. He's moving out with her.
What? Why? Mark, stop it. Stop it, Mark.
Commenter number 4 says, why would you allow this toxic crap in your life? Like, what the F is this? The 90s cops show up? Get these people out of your house and out of your life. Your friend let his girlfriend move in. Did you all discuss it first? How is he dating someone so volatile? Or is this all super normal in your neck of the woods? Opie says, obviously I don't allow it since the cops were called and she has been banned from my house. It was discussed first, and he promised he had talked to her and that she would watch her drinking and make sure that she acted right. I believed him, which was a mistake. Opie responds to a downvoted commenter on drinking heavily and not being smart on how much to drink. Opie says, who said regularly drinking heavily? We're adults who are allowed to have an occasional drink. My wife and I maybe had 4 drinks between the two of us. Touch grass for Christ's sake, and maybe you should grow the F up. Oh, dude, Opie's clapping back now.
He's like, stop. We're just having fun.
You know, it was all fun and games. And it was like, hey, like maybe you should press charges and whatever. We're all cool. But listen, if you say I can't enjoy a drink or two,
can't enjoy a brewski with the beers. Oh, you got another thing coming.
I'm coming after you. If you think that's heavy drinking, then maybe you have a heavy drinking problem and should reevaluate your life.
Dang, OP.
Just clapping back. We have an update. We are about halfway through.
Oh boy.
This saga.
Oh boy.
Sophia, what are we thinking right now?
I think you just gotta limit contact with Mark until until he hopefully has a change of heart or a realization that he's not in a good relationship.
Yeah, it seems like I don't think without Mark coming to the realization, because you can try, you can push and force it, and maybe even drive him further away from you and closer to Heather, which would potentially make it worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, hey, look, I'm gonna be here for you, but I not in the way that we have been if you're still with Heather. But we have an update where potentially time will pass.
Woo.
Let's see. Well, that blew up faster than I thought. For context, no, we didn't press charges ultimately because she only broke her own stuff and made a bit of a mess. Pressing charges was just something we didn't feel like dealing with for her breaking down her own crap.
Okay, so I guess she did only break her stuff.
It seems. I can't imagine how banging the bed against the floor on the ground was the only thing damaging. But hey, all right.
If you say so, P.
If you say so. I also messed up the timeline. This happened 2 weeks ago. We've had a lot going on, so sorry. Heather was released the next day from jail with a preliminary hearing set for last Thursday. We obviously spent so much time talking about what had happened. Mark said he was going to break up with Heather and spent that whole first week saying that.
I think he's going to take it back.
Then last week, he said he isn't going to break up with her, but she is not allowed back at the house at all, and he said he understood that. 2 days before the preliminary hearing, Cindy and Mark are subpoenaed to court. Sadly, I wasn't, so this part is secondhand from my wife, Cindy.
He's like, I wasn't freaking subpoenaed. It's not fair.
I was ready to lay down the law.
I wanted to talk.
Boom, boom.
Doom, doom.
Cindy told me that because it's a felony, the judge is passing the case on to the district court from magistrate. I guess the DA went up to Cindy and Mark and said they could offer Heather a plea deal where she would basically be on probation with mandated therapy and mandated Alcoholic Anonymous. Okay, wow. So now, whether the district judge accepts that is anyone's guess. So it seems like it is at least within Cindy and Mark's hands to kind of give her this, much more fair or like easy, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, punishment, or at least suggest that as a possibility versus like being prosecuted for a full felony, which so I talked with Mark that night after I got off work, and he said they had a long talk after that and are staying together but won't be attached at the hip.
Oh no, that's not good.
It doesn't really matter.
He's
how
like,
you're
we
attached.
won't be codependent anymore. We're gonna stay together, but we're gonna have some space, so it's fine.
Heather doesn't remember anything after we stopped hanging out. He has spent every day since then with her, but that's his thing, so I don't really care. Cindy and I were out of town this past weekend, and we noticed on our doorbell camera that her car was magically gone at the same time that Mark's was gone. I confronted him, and he insisted that she never went inside, and our doorbell doesn't show that she went in. So it seems that Mark was there in the home, but their cars were appearing and disappearing together. Cindy and I talked and were ready to punt him out too. We had another talk last night, and he is moving out because they are finding a place together. We also told Mark we wanted an apology even if Heather didn't think she deserved it. I also confronted Mark because he was saying at my brother's bachelor party that Heather didn't deserve it and the cops didn't need to be called, which is highly inappropriate at any type of event, but especially that one.
Yeah. I bet Mark is just so locked into this relationship that he just doesn't understand.
Yeah,
he is hurting his friend.
Dude, big time. This is reality distortion goggles.
Yeah.
To the highest degree.
Absolutely.
By the way, if you want entertainment to the highest degree, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your pods, and search what, Sophia?
Okay, story time.
That's right. We've got 2,000 episodes for your listening pleasure.
That's so many.
So many. Do we have any almost final closing thoughts as we are imminently reaching the end of this saga here?
I do.
Tell me.
I think that you already Mark is leaving the house, so that solves that problem.
Yep.
But I still think you got to limit contact because I think he's going to push through boundaries. I think that if you guys have like events where you're going to go out, Heather's probably going to be there, mutual friends, Heather's probably going to be there. So if you don't want to have those interactions with Heather, I think you have to realize that Mark is going to bring her around
Yeah.
still if they're together.
So Heather has been telling Mark that she was trying to leave and go to her brother's. She walked outside the one time and came back in with nobody trying to stop her. She also said that I started a confrontation with her, and that's why she went off the rails. I call BS, because why would we try to stop her from leaving unless it was in a car? And we also asked how the heck she knows this if she was supposedly so blackout that she doesn't remember anything. Hey, I blacked out and I don't remember the details, but here's the details I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, only the relevant ones.
The math ain't mathin', Heather. Mark claims he doesn't remember anything until after the cops left, which is crap because we talked about what happened multiple times over the days after this occurred. He's just being an idiot, and we won't be dealing with it anymore. Either way, both are moving out. Good. Yes. Heather isn't allowed back except to get her stuff, and we will have an officer there when she is there. Editor's note, OP attached a picture of the hearing case report. That's crazy. And relevant comments, commenter number 1 says, if she doesn't remember anything, how does she know these things about the incident? Mark is in a toxic relationship, and I hope he will leave before it's too late. OP responds, that's exactly what I said when we talked to him. He says she's remembering things. It's all
She's
coming
seeing
back.
visions.
She sees the visions of what happened.
She gains strength from her past.
Yes. And OP clarifies on the court process. OP says we live in a small town, and it was a preliminary appearance. Also, like I said, it was moved to district court instead of magistrate, so his next trial isn't until October at the earliest. Will Mark be allowed to come back to OP's house? OP said he won't be allowed to come back.
Good.
That is good. Let's set the boundaries. Why did OP let Mark move in with him and Cindy? OP said because of rent. Mark and I were renting before I met Cindy. Cindy and I are about to move out of state, so we don't see a reason to not keep renting together to save money.
That's true.
And that is the end of that story.
Aren't they married? Am I crazy?
Oh, they are married.
Yeah, so why would they not rent together?
It's illegal.
Okay.
Not we live in an I Love Lucy world, and they must not only sleep in separate bedrooms,
Yeah.
separate cities.
Separate cities.
Get
Opie's
married.
like, it just makes sense for us to live together. I mean, yeah, it's pretty common.
We happen to be married, and that's it.
Yeah.
My girlfriend is upset that I checked her location. She is definitely hiding something.
I want to know where you are at all times.
My girlfriend, female 25, and I, male 28, have been in a relationship together for 8 months. She is currently away on holiday with some friends. She works hard, and this is more of a party trip for her with friends, which I'm okay with because she needs some time to chill out, given the amount of stress her work puts her under. By the way, this comes from user somedinner1057, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit and submit it there. So, tonight, she went out to a club, and as I am still home and up early for work, I said goodnight to her, I love you, etc., blah, 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 I love you. And I asked her to let me know when she got back to the hotel. I'm a terrible sleeper, and I wake up sometimes multiple times at night. It was 3:30 in the morning for me when I woke up, 4:30 in the morning where she is, and I hadn't heard from her yet. So I messaged and asked if she was okay. Then, because we share locations with each other on Snapchat, and thinking maybe she got back to her hotel and passed out from drinking, I thought to check that. Her location from the hour before wasn't at the club, and wasn't anywhere near the hotel she was staying at, nor any possible route a taxi would take there and back. Opposite direction type deal. I called her and she didn't pick up, but she started messaging me a couple minutes later saying she was fine and just got back to the hotel and sent a photo of the food she was eating. This is where I feel weird because I asked her when she left the club and she said 4 at her time. Her Snap location from 30 minutes before then had her miles away from there. So I asked if she was sure and she said yes. I then brought up the fact that I had Snap maps and she got immediately defensive. Initially, she tried saying that the map doesn't show the club, which it does. And then she said that she was getting upset that I was checking in on her and made me feel like I was wrong to be doing that. I feel weird about that last part because as your partner, of course, I will be worried if you're in a foreign country where drink is involved, you were at a club and showing as miles away from where you said you were. I'm trying to think this was just Snapchat being weird but can it be that far off? I'm talking like 3 miles away. The location it showed her by was near some houses. I really don't know how I should feel about it. She's gone to sleep for now and assured me she's in her hotel, but I still feel really mixed about how defensive she got about it, when literally all I was worried about her safety. Can someone share their perspective and thoughts on this? And there is an update. It's like, so here's what I'd have to say about this. If this was your daughter, sure, you're her father. Like, you're worried about her. You want to know. You call her. Look, check her location. You're not her dad, though.
Yeah.
I feel like life is inherently risky and dangerous. And sometimes we just have to be like, this is a person who is a whole person, and they're going to live their life. And seeing as you're not there, what were you going to do?
Yeah. I do think
Either
sharing a
way.
location with someone is, I mean, I do it with a lot of people, so it's like maybe less
Yeah.
meaningful for me. But, but I feel like for a lot of people, it is a sign of like, hey, I trust you with information of where I am at all times.
Yeah.
And I think there are moments, I mean, with my friends, I will like actively reach out to them and say like, hey, I'm doing this thing. You have my location. I'll let you know when I'm back. If you need to check on me and I seem like I'm not in the right place, thanks.
Yeah.
And
it's a conversation you have before the trip. It's like, hey, we're gonna share our locations. You can check up on me. Not like a wake up in the middle of the night and like do detective work. To figure out if she's actually where you think she is.
Like, again,
out of
he might be right.
Right.
Sure, but you still need to have a conversation about why you're feeling these feelings.
I was feeling like crap, hurt, confused, and everything in between after she went to sleep. I conveyed my emotions to her and said I wanted to speak over the phone or in person about how I'm feeling, and that I wasn't done or ready to move on yet from what happened and how I felt about her getting defensive. She ended up stalling all day while going out to enjoy her holiday, and occasionally, if my feelings came up, she would casually try to press me to come out and text her what I wanted to say. But I stood firm with wanting to actually speak to her. After a night of no sleep, I ended up passing out at some point for a couple of hours, waking up around 11:30 p.m. my time, and I messaged her once again, completely putting myself out there and basically said all I want is to speak to my partner about my feelings, and that I found it odd she couldn't find the time to have a conversation, and that I was seriously hurting and not okay. She eventually got back to her hotel room around midnight for me, and initially messaged again saying that she would rather have the conversation in person and that I'm not considering her comfort at all. She cited that she's in a shared room with her friend and would rather have the conversation in a safe place at home. I told her that I do understand where she's coming from, but I was at the end of my rope and I really need to just speak with my girlfriend, and she still hasn't acknowledged that. Then it gets worse. She ends up calling me a few minutes after, and I go into it. I bring up that I'm not feeling okay, and I'm hurt and confused by her defensive reaction when I was approaching her in a non-accusatory way, and from a place of genuine concern, considering she hadn't messaged me yet, and it was 3:30 a.m. for me, 4:30 where she was. Not even a, hey, just leaving the club, and then the location discrepancy on top of it. She then leaned heavily into saying that I'm not listening to her story and that I don't trust her, and was checking up on her because I didn't believe she would message me. She wasn't grasping that I could be coming to her from a place of genuine worry and only fixated on trying to explain away my feelings by saying I didn't trust her, I'm being insecure, and I need therapy for my trust issues. I was baffled and started getting upset at the personal attacks. And the conversation turned into an argument where I kept reiterating that any normal partnership would get worried given the information I had at the time. But she kept saying I wasn't listening. And even though I said I understand why she felt that way, what I'm saying contradicts that, which I said to her moments before that, as I felt what she was saying was how I understand where you're coming from, but so wasn't her hearing me at all. And when I asked her what I specifically said that contradicts myself, she couldn't provide any examples. About 5 or 10 minutes of not getting anywhere, I shut down the conversation and said, look, this is the last time I'm saying it. I do trust you. I came from a place of genuine concern over your safety, and it has nothing to do with my insecurities or therapy. I was upset and confused by your defensive reaction and avoiding this conversation until now, and I feel like right now this conversation isn't going anywhere and only pissing both of us off. I'm sorry that you feel like I don't trust you, but you're not listening to me. I don't fully remember what she replied with, as I was angry, but she stated her final piece at how she was upset, and this has effed her up, and that she needs to speak to her mom to properly process everything. Okay.
I gotta talk to my mom.
I mean, not
Okay.
necessarily a red flag, but like, wow, you can't sort out your own thoughts
I don't know. I
mean,
think this is a little bit
to this level?
Yeah.
What kind of insight is your mom going to have to your relationship with this guy?
If this was a normal, like if she had truly done nothing, I think this is how it would have gone. I think he would have said, "Hey, I like checked your thing and you aren't where you said you were going to be." And she would have said like, "Hey, yeah, maybe either, Snapchat is off, or oh yeah, we ended up going out to another place after. Sorry, I forgot to update you on that."
It would have been, "Oh, don't worry, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that you're feeling stressed out over me. Don't worry, I'm here with my friends. We're all taking care of each other."
That would have
That would have been the response.
Yeah.
My girlfriend didn't interject, and I was quiet until her friend stopped talking. I asked her if I could say one more thing before we ended the call. My girlfriend said no, that she had to go. So not only did my partner not stand up for me, but I feel like she actively tried to blame shift, dismiss, and or explain away my feelings by belittling them into insecurities and trust issues. When all I did was react and have genuine cause for concern about her safety. I sent a final message once the call was over that didn't deliver because she shut her phone off, explaining that I don't like how her friend was talking about me and it wasn't needed at all, that I needed space to process things, and all I wanted to do was convey my emotions to my partner. I told her if she still wanted to meet face-to-face after the holiday to let me know. She did respond rather coldly in the morning, saying that she also needed space and would message me on Saturday when she's back. And by the way, you can Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, literally wherever you listen to podcasts. All you got to do is search OK Storytime. I think the solution here is that if you have principles, like, I don't think I'd date this person anymore.
Yeah.
I think I'm breaking up with my girlfriend now.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like this is a indicator of something larger, like a larger problem in your relationship. She's I do think I would wait at least until she gets back from this trip. I wouldn't do it.
Oh yeah,
while
no,
she's
you do the
gone.
breakup in person for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, no, just I think have a conversation in person too, because clearly, I mean, and that might end.
So you're
in-
not on breakup yet. You're like, maybe have one more conversation
I think so.
and see where it goes.
It might end in a breakup. I don't think that OP would be wrong in that, but I do think that having a conversation in person away from her friend while she's not on a vacation is always good. Because people, they're not really thinking about everything that's going on back home, and they're thinking about having fun and partying and stuff, which doesn't excuse their behavior, but it doesn't contribute to like having an effective conversation.
Here's my theory.
Yeah.
Because we're both on the she definitely cheated train, right? Right?
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Something. So I think they've been together 8 months. I bet you that it's that like sort of like parent energy, like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? All the time has probably like maybe worn her out a little bit.
Yeah.
And she's probably been venting to her work friends about how her man is so like, ugh. And now you're out on a big girlies trip, and that friend who's like, you have nothing to apologize for.
She's definitely complained.
I would
She's
bet you
definitely
money
complained, yeah.
that she pushed her to like, go talk to that cute guy over there. Oh my God, we're only going to be alive in here one time. Today only happens today. Go talk to that man. He's cute. And I bet you she did.
Yep.
And I bet you it was a team effort. Unfortunately. But that's just my conspiracy. That's my theory.
I hope not.
And that's not a fact. That's a theory.
Theoretical.
All right. I've gone through all of the emotions at this point, from wanting to work it out with her to I'm going to walk away. The problem is, up until this holiday she's gone on, I was completely emotionally invested into this relationship, and I still am. But I think the best thing for me to do at this point is to walk away, because the more time passes from that conversation, the more I feel like I can't convey my feelings to her and know that she'll support me. I feel like she weaponized what I was saying to her and tried to manipulate my emotions by telling me how I feel and belittling them by saying my worrying was just trust issues and insecurities. At this point, I'm leaning towards walking out of this Is there a projection coming from her end here?
Oh, that's it?
She is a big screen projector, dude.
Oh, man.
Of course. Dude, the fact that she said nothing about your feelings other than that they
Yeah.
don't exist, huge red flag.
Yeah.
And the reason she's so defensive is because she's got to play defense. Because I think she cheated on you.
I just think if you have nothing to hide, you aren't this defensive.
Yeah, the response would have been like, "Oh, dang, you've been tripping over me and my safety? Well, I'm safe, and I'm gonna be safe with all my
Yeah.
friends. So please don't worry about me like that again."
My partner judged me for cutting off my mother, but he just doesn't understand.
Hey, who are you to judge? Come on.
By the way, this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit, one of our
Oh
own.
yeah.
I will try to make this brief, but I have a tendency to be wordy, so my apologies beforehand. Expect typos as well. I'm dyslexic. I see you, Riley. I, 38 non-binary, have been with my partner, 54 male, off and on for about 8 years. Before anyone says anything about the age difference, just note that I was 30 when we initially got together. That's also when we first met. And I absolutely, without question, came on to him first, lol. By the way, this comes from Pinball Knothead, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to that r/OK Storytime subreddit. However, I'm not going to lie and say our relationship has always been perfectly angelic. We've had lots of ups and downs, and when our relationship gets down, it can be really, really down due to the fact that we both suffer from major depressive disorder. Because of this, when we both hit bad lows at the same time, we can go from being lovers and best friends to each other's worst nightmare. We understand this about each other now and do our best to be supportive instead of accusatory these days. In December, I had to go no contact with my mother, 74 female. The reason why is a very long story worthy of a Reddit post all to itself, but let's just say that she's always been an abusive, self-absorbed person and things have gotten worse for multiple reasons, and I simply could not tolerate it anymore. Not to mention, because of another self-absorbed person in her orbit, things had gotten where it was literally unsafe for me to even try to be close to her. My partner, let's call him Silas, and I love each other very much and very deeply. Unfortunately, family is a deeper trigger for him, especially mothers. This is because his own passed away due to illness over a decade ago, and he was her caretaker. Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think he ever actually processed that grief. The first quarter of the year can be very difficult for him because they contain both his mother's birthday and passing date, both of which put an extreme strain on him emotionally and mentally. Silas has been aware of the difficult relationship that I've had with my mother from the very start. He's been there to hold me and comfort me because of the things this woman has put me through. The fact that our immediate families and childhoods pretty much sucked has been a bonding point for us. Far from the only one, don't worry. It's also been a great comfort knowing that he could empathize with that aspect of my life. But when I went no contact, his attitude about the situation completely changed. Silas was and is very much of the opinion that one should never entirely cut off anyone, especially family. He thinks that if he should reach out to my mother, he has every right to do so, and I have no right or reason to feel hurt by that action. If I am hurt by that, it's manipulation and controlling on my part. Today, I found out that blocked numbers can still receive voicemails. Who knew? Because my egg donor left one. She was upset that I hadn't told her about some health issues that I've been having lately, and the voicemail was clearly both trying to shame and guilt me for not talking to her. What's funny is that if she had just checked her email, she would have known that I did tell her. I just didn't give a lot of details. I sent a group email explaining that I would be out of pocket for a while and why, and she was one of the recipients. To be sure that I wasn't being biased, I sent a copy of the voicemail to multiple people, both friends and family. Everyone agreed that she was trying to be manipulative, except for Silas. He insisted that she just sounded concerned. Listen, I care very deeply about this man. I've been anti-marriage my entire life, but if you were to ask, I would absolutely marry him. But his absolute blindness to this issue is starting to be too much. He consistently says that he doesn't judge people, but that's how I feel anytime this comes up. I feel judged. I feel like because I finally found the courage to walk away from someone that was supposed to love and cherish me, yet never really did, he's ashamed of me. And I know that this post is looking for advice, but please don't let the first thing anyone says be break up. Yeah, I'm aware I can do that. The reason I said off and on earlier is because I have broken up with him before, and now we have an agreement. If we break up again, we won't even try to stay friends and we'll completely walk away from each other because we clearly can't avoid getting back together so long as we're in each other's lives. And I know the second suggestion is therapy. Well, I'm already in therapy and have been for a while. Silas, on the other hand, has had therapy weaponized against him at multiple points in his life, so he no longer trusts it. I've asked him for couples counseling multiple times, and he refuses, saying only people who need help breaking up do couples counseling.
Pause. This sounds extremely suspicious.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, he's like, I'm allowed to feel however I want to feel about you, but you are not allowed to feel anything about the way I feel about you.
Yeah, I think
that's not allowed.
I read that thing wrong earlier that said, like, you know, if he decides to reach out to OP's mom, then they can't have any like you know response to it. I totally read that wrong. I thought that like he was saying that if like they want to walk away or something like that. I don't know. I totally read that wrong, but that was a manipulative thing.
He's literally saying your feelings don't matter, my feelings do matter. Throughout this, all of that.
Yeah.
Like even where it's like, well, now if we've been on and off again, he's like, was it a group decision really to be like, if we break up again, we'll never ever see each other ever in our lives?
Yeah.
Or was that his idea?
Was that like an ultimatum?
So that you never break up again?
Yeah. Because clearly it's working.
Right.
So,
and then now he can, you know.
I don't trust this guy so far.
He seems very good at manipulating you, OP.
Yeah. I tried to explain that that's not how that works, but that's exactly what's happened to him before. So I can't say I blame him for having that mindset. I actually have a list of reasons for why I think he feels the way he does about my choices about my mother, and including his own mother's passing away. I can add the whole thing if anyone wants that, but at this point, I don't need the why as much as I need a way for him to understand that his mindset is neither helpful nor supportive, but it's in fact hurtful and that I'm not wrong in being upset about it. So help, please. And there are some comments, but yeah, what would you say? If you're not saying break up and if you're not saying go to therapy, what would you do in this situation?
Well, you know, and there's another thing that I just talked about, the fact that he was like, nah, therapy was weaponized against me, so I don't trust it.
Yeah.
That honestly could read as like, and look, if you go to therapy with like an abuser, they very much can weaponize your therapy against you, so you should never go to therapy with an abuser.
Sure.
But like, for him to just be like, therapy, I don't trust it, really reads as like, nah, I don't like people like really putting my issues out in the spotlight and telling me things I need to change.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to.
Exactly. I don't think that's a weapon against you. I think it's just you're just having to confront your own mistakes.
He would have to relinquish some level of control over the situation to the therapist.
Yeah.
And of course he doesn't want to do that because it really reads, I don't know if you recognize this, OP, it reads like he's controlling the entire relationship at this point. Down from the top down to the point where he's like, you're no contact. I don't care. I'm not no contact with your mom and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. We do have some comments. So comment number 1 says, so sorry, OP, since y'all do love each other and want to stay together and counseling isn't an option, then you need to have someone other than Silas to support you and that you can discuss your mother. I personally think that Silas is wrong. Sometimes people are so horrible and selfish that cutting ties is the healthiest thing to do. My dad cut off his toxic family. I will forever appreciate that because he protected us. We grew up with healthy relationships because he made that decision. You can't help how you feel. Silas's attitude and words have hurt you. That's a fact even if he chooses not to acknowledge it. My husband won't go to counseling, but will listen to self-help books. Maybe that could be an alternative. Something that y'all could start out doing together, maybe. Opie says that may be an option. He spends half the week out of town because of work, not worried about cheating, we're poly, and during the road trip, he listens to audiobooks a lot anyway. I thought on the advice of the comments and also talked to my therapist about it. My therapist, I think, gave me the best advice. Have a deep heart-to-heart with him about it, but wait to do it. Wait until he's not so sensitive about his own mother if you can. I thought that was fabulous advice and that he would be far more open to being empathetic if he wasn't so caught up in his own feels. So I waited. And in fact, I waited so long that I forgot because the issue didn't come up again. Until last week. The egg donor and her flying monkeys were making trouble for an organization that I volunteer for because why not, right? Things that I didn't have to deal with directly, but they knew that I would see. Fun times. And rather than make Silas deal or start a fight, when he would ask how I was or how my day was, I would just tell him something like, oh, the drama queen is at it again. And this would tell him all that he really needed to know. that the woman formerly known as my mother was stressing out my world, and if he wanted more details, he could ask. Sometimes he did, but normally he would just comfort me. And that's all I had really wanted was some comfort, so win-win. Later in the week, Silas calls me while he's away. He's gone half of the week for work again. He was highly distraught because he had just gotten some bad news about his family. It's private and not actually relevant to the story, but the point is, we ended up talking for a long time while he calms down. Eventually, he just suddenly said, without prompting, "I'm sorry for not being there for you when you cut off your mom." I was literally stunned into silence. True, family has started this call, but I was not expecting that, and I had been doing my best not to bring any of my stress onto him while he was venting. And we promise to never bring our stress onto you when you listen to more full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is.
Oh, yeah.
Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story, but I am so curious about what happened to give him this change in opinion.
I mean, you know, as a lot of time went by, like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I think people can get clarity from a lot of different places.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like there's some elements of this relationship that are like kind of, unhealthy. Like
Yeah.
the fact that, wait. So you guys are together, but you're also poly, but if you guys go off again, because you've been on and off, there's now an ultimatum that y'all will completely cut each other out of each other's lives.
Yeah.
That just sound. If that was a group idea, great. But if that came from Silas more than OP, that sounds like him being like, well, you are not allowed to leave anymore, essentially.
Yeah. Sounds like we're done.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
And you don't like that either, OP. You literally said it in the post. You're like, and that's why we can't break up.
Yeah.
Which is not really fair. Because in an open and honest relationship, really that potential is kind of always there underneath everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can be in a relationship with somebody with the caveat of like, and you're never allowed to break up. If we break up one more time, I'll never talk to you again.
Yeah.
Like
really
that's kind of wild.
But we do have more to the story. So he continued, "I know that's your relationship and not mine, and that it's for you to handle the way you see fit. I've been doing my best to keep quiet about it and just be supportive to you." By this point, I was tearing up a bit and had to push it back. "Thank you," I told him. "Really, you don't know how much I appreciate you saying that. I've been trying not to overwhelm you with it either." And then we changed the subject. This is why I didn't want to break up. This is why I wanted advice and alternatives, because this man, well, his skull is as thick as a husky's coat, but he's a good egg. A really good egg. And that is the end of that story. Interesting. I think it's very nice that he said that, but I also think that it's something to keep an eye on and see if his actions actually back it up. Because if he does have manipulative tendencies, which, he might not. It might have just been that
Right.
one thing that we saw.
It might have just read that way. And again, like, we're just reading the story. I don't know either of these people in real life.
Exactly.
I am basing everything off of the way that post was written.
Yeah.
And OP, you probably don't want to hear me say it, but it sounded a little manipulative.
It did sound a little manipulative. So if he has those tendencies, then it's very possible that this could be another chance. So it must feel really good that that's happened, and let it feel good, but also keep an eye out and observe rather than just trusting.
My girlfriend wants to throw a party, but I know no one will show up. What a freaking party pooper, am I right? Birthdays have always been hard on my 20 male girlfriend turning 21 female. She has had a few parties as a child where no one showed up. Oh my God. What the heck? And since moving states in the middle of high school, she hasn't made close friends. Here at college, she tries hard to make friends. She talks well to people on a superficial basis, but doesn't have any real friends. She's never been invited to a college party and has often missed out on many typical activities. By the way, this comes from Birthday Parties 4. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, we've been together for 3 years since freshman orientation. I don't have friends, but I'm happy that way. I like keeping to myself if I'm not spending time with her. Since she's naturally extroverted, she spends her free time with me or at club meetings trying to connect to people. She's asked if I could put together a small party, so I invited some acquaintances, my roommates, etc. Everyone said no. I gave the invites well in advance, too. I don't know how to break the news to my girlfriend. She's been so excited. She thought providing free food and drinks would be a great way to make friends, but people don't want to come for even that. What can I do?
Oh my gosh.
It's so sad.
This is really sad. That's always the most
said no.
heartbreaking thing
Yeah.
when you're like putting so much effort into
Yeah.
hosting or making a party or something like that and no one shows up.
No one comes.
That's the worst feeling ever.
The thing is, I will say, if you want 20 people to show up, invite 40.
yeah, true.
Those are the rules. It's
True.
like double the amount because you'll get half.
Yeah,
My rule that I typically go by is if I want one amount,
yeah.
double it.
Always double it.
Comments deleted. Why do all these people, friends, roommate, etc., dislike her enough not to come? If she's extroverted, what's going wrong with how she interacts with people to make them not want to be around her? OP says, I don't know. She can be a bit silly and goofy, but I like that about her. She doesn't cause drama. She's a good listener and has a good sense of humor. She's extroverted, but tends to be shy around new people. She also tends to act pretty differently depending on the person. I do that too, to an extent. Honestly, I don't know why people are all declining. I've never been invited to a party, but I'd go to support someone. Deleted. Why didn't you ask them? OP says they all make BS excuses about being busy. Some of these people I know are not busy that day. I don't think they want to insult her to my face. Hunt Gather says they probably don't actually dislike her. They're probably basically neutral about her and are surprised that they're invited to her party. Did you tell them that it's a small party? People will attend big parties even if they're not super close to the host, but a small party basically says close friends only. They may even feel that you were mistaken in inviting them if they think it's a small party for her best friends. Edit. Recently, a woman invited me and a few of my friends to her birthday party. We weren't close with her and definitely wouldn't have gone to her apartment for drinks because it would have felt weird since, again, we weren't close. But her party was a karaoke party, which is something my friends and I like to do anyway. So we showed up and had a great time with her. Is there anything that your acquaintances love to do that you could build your party around instead of drinking?
That's honestly what I was thinking of. Like,
And there is an update. But yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, I was honestly thinking about that too. Like, I wonder if there's an activity or something so it's not just like we're going to come and you have to only make conversation the whole time.
One day later, I logged into Facebook at like 2 a.m. last night, and my girlfriend has posted a message on the party event wall saying the party was canceled. She saw the no-shows before I could let her know about it. I called her and suggested some other activities we could do, things like amusement parks or concerts or taking a cooking class. I thought she'd like all those. No, thank you. We were kind of quiet over the phone until she asked me in a really small voice if I could come over. We met outside our dorm at like 3 a.m. She was crying, as I expected, but it was just watery eyes, not full-on sobs, how she usually cries. It's okay, she said. Some people aren't meant to have friends.
Oh my gosh.
Stop.
So not true.
Stop. Making friends is hard.
Especially in college. Yeah, it is.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. I
Yeah.
wonder too if she's like picking the right people. to be
Probably.
around.
I mean, yeah.
Because like
It's picking the people that actually show up to things
Yeah.
is hard.
yeah,
People don't show up to things.
it's true.
That's just like, that's how it goes.
yeah.
I told her she was exaggerating, that she just needs to look in different places, etc. She shook her head. No, I'm done. This morning at breakfast, we passed a lot of mutual acquaintances. Usually my girlfriend smiles and says hello. Today, she just kept her eyes on the pavement, not looking at anyone. She barely ate. But other than that, she seemed like her normal self with me, talking and laughing. She just wouldn't look at anyone else. She told me how she's going to use this extra time to get better in her classes, to work on her jewelry, and maybe open an Etsy shop, to read more books. Asked her if this is really what she wanted. No, but life doesn't always give you what you want. I didn't want to be an engineer. I didn't want to live in a basement alone. I didn't want to hate college and wish every day that I could drop out, but you make the best of it. This is so sad.
This is really sad.
This is so sad.
This poor girl.
Like, honestly, girl, join a theater. Go join a musical or a play.
Period.
Because the amount of friends that you make when you have to be with these people for hours every day.
Yeah, and have fun with them.
And have fun with them and be goofy.
yeah.
I mean, you're silly goofy, apparently.
Yeah.
Go literally
It's
join
the
a
perfect
play.
place.
Join a play.
Yeah.
Her voice was breaking as she said this, but she didn't cry. She left the breakfast table after that and said she wanted to be alone. Where the heck do I go from here? Her actual birthday is tomorrow. We were throwing the party a week later, and she insists she doesn't want to do anything. Is it bad that part of me sort of agreed with her, that some people aren't meant to make friends? I don't think I am, but obviously she wants friends, and it makes her Miserable. Edit, I'm sitting with her in her dorm room right now. She's on the bed reading. I'm on the couch minding my own business, just being near her. She's okay. And there are some comments. Relithro404 says, I've read the entirety of your other thread and your comments here, and I have a few thoughts that I hope you won't take personally. You seem to truly care for your girlfriend, and I think you're a great boyfriend to her. That being said, neither of you seem to understand social interactions, and you seem to be reinforcing each other's misunderstandings. You wrote that she skips from group to group events, but hasn't even been able to get a girl to go for coffee with her. That's understandable. You would have to meet up in a group setting a few times in college to be memorable and comfortable enough for a one-on-one invite. I feel like she fails on getting the one-on-one invite, and she feels as though she's doing something wrong, and you feel as though she's doing something wrong, when in reality she's approaching the situation incorrectly to begin with. If she wants to make friends, she should sign up for book clubs, knitting circles, jewelry making groups, and go to them continuously. Great point.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like that commenter is right in go to clubs that you already have,
Yeah.
you know, you already enjoy. So like the book clubs, the jewelry, those are things that she already loves doing.
Right. I was wondering what clubs she goes to because he mentioned clubs, but I do wonder if it's like, again, like what we were saying earlier, like if it's the right people that are actually similar to her.
Well, I remember my freshman year, I went to literally like I signed up for like 10 different clubs.
Beautiful.
And just went to a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
And I realized I wasn't a club person. I was like, wow, these aren't my thing. Go to www.meetup.com and find some groups for her in your area. They will usually have a good mix of college kids and older in a college town, giving her exposure to people in all stages of life and, more importantly, social spectrum. These are people who want to make friends. Frankly, the fact that you aren't interested in friends is holding her back, though that's not your fault. She wants to be social and has entered into a cycle of not having friends, getting desperate, alienating people through desperation, not having friends. You may feel as though she should just give up, but if she picks up on that, it's only going to make her worse. She is clearly a social person. I have a feeling that you not wanting friends as a personal choice and focusing solely on work and your girlfriend is deterring many people who know you two as a couple. They probably see you as cold and or emotionless, even if you don't mean to be that way. It is unusual to be disinterested in friendship, especially after so long. You've had roommates for 3 or 4 years in college, get along reasonably well with them, and yet have never been interested in them as friends. Of course they won't come to your girlfriend's party. I wouldn't want to either. I would feel weirded out by even being asked. If you want to help your girlfriend, you may just have to step outside of your own social comfort zone a little and at least try to be a little friendlier. Couples tend to meet people together, and if you're coming off as aloof and not needing human interaction by choice, you're going to run people off away from her. Edit, by the way, I don't mean to put the onus on you to change. If she was here asking for advice, I would be focusing on her. But she's already gotten some great advice from other people here, and I wanted to comment on some things that were sticking out to me in your reply. And there is an update, but yeah, I would say I agree with that comment completely.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I was wondering like the same thing. Like if I feel like there's also a way for her to get friends like through her boyfriend. Like if her boyfriend had friends, I mean, like,
well, it seems
look
like
at us.
All of the people that she invited to the party were people that he invited.
True.
It was a lot of like, oh, I invited my roommates and my acquaintances and people I know in my classes and stuff. Who, again, that commenter is saying, if he has been kind of standoffish and like, I don't need friends, 'cause he said, I don't have any friends.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, they probably would be like, why is he inviting me to this thing?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is an update. A few days later. Short update here. I stayed with my girlfriend for a while last night. She just read a book and didn't talk much. I cuddled her a bit, but she mostly wanted space. This morning, I came to her room with flowers and a gift. She accepted the flowers with a smile. She told me she wanted to go home to her parents this weekend. I was pretty sad about that. I wanted to make her feel loved and special, but she said she needed to get off campus for a bit. So I said okay. I took her to the bus stop, said goodbye, and now here I am. She did love the present, though. It was a book she'd been wanting for a while. Hopefully she'll feel better when she comes back. Comments. Admin UK. You have done the right thing so far, so very well done. You are a heck of a guy. One thing, though, you might want to ring ahead and tell her parents what happened. I know she seems okay, but you don't go from the level of sadness she has had over the last few days to okay that quickly. Might be best if they keep an eye on her. OP says she's already home by now. It's not very far. And they're likely celebrating her birthday. I don't really want to put a damper on things. She obviously wants to move on. Admin UK says, fair enough then. Still credit to you. You're an awesome boyfriend and a great human being. I know everyone is feeling for your girlfriend right now, including myself. But you have been through heck too. I've been in similar situations and I know how helpless and useless you feel. But you're doing all the right things. Top human marks for you. Obi says thanks. I appreciate it. Alice in Borderland says, remember what people said in your last update. Maybe just a quick call to be sure she arrived safely. Nothing more needed. OP says she called me once she got there. She's fine. And there's a third update.
Oh, wow.
2 months later.
Wow.
I'm really hoping like he took all the advice for her.
Yeah.
And, implemented some of these changes.
Right. And maybe she's just had some time to kind of either like deal with it or pick herself up from all that. Yeah.
I hope so.
Let's find out.
2 months later. Anyway, oh no, the school year is in full swing and she cries all the time. No! At least 3 times a week, if not more. She feels like she's taking advantage of my kindness, so she tries not to cry in front of me.
Oh my God.
She's completely abandoned the search to find friends and doesn't go out except for food, class, etc. There are happy moments too, and she'll still go out with me, but she just seems fragmented overall. She actually did pursue therapy at our university because she felt like she really needed someone to talk to that wasn't me. They informed her that all the spots they had were full and that unless she was a self-harm risk, they didn't have room.
Oh my gosh.
They're like, I don't know, are you going to unalive yourself? And she's like, no. And they're like, well, you're
you're not bad enough to need therapy.
Yeah, well, come back when you are.
Yeah.
What?
That's crazy.
Heartless, right? It really made her feel bad, but she didn't want to lie and say she was a self-harm risk. She feels lonelier than ever. There's no doubt in my mind that she's depressed. She pours all her energy into schoolwork and hasn't really touched her hobbies much either. She can't afford therapy other than the university, and they won't give it to her. Is there any way she can get the help she needs? Oh
my
By
gosh.
the way, you can help us by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left. This was depressing. I thought she was going to turn around.
I had high hopes.
I really hoped. Deleted. Lastly, and this might be difficult to hear, she needs to stop placing so much of a priority on people liking her and wanting to hang out with her. I learned long ago that some people just won't like you, and that's perfectly okay. Nothing at all you can do about it. She should pursue her interests, join clubs, etc. When she begins appearing more confident and well-adjusted, friendships will naturally follow. Ding, 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 knockout. Reply from OP. That's what she's been doing for the last 3 years. She was actually pretty confident for a while, but I guess she always thought she would have made 1 or 2 friends by now, and it's starting to crash down around her. Procyon says, you're in your senior year, right? Unfortunately, by now, most people already have a circle of friends. It's going to be much harder to suddenly become the new person in a group who have been hanging out together for years. Close friends in college may not happen for her. She should focus more on getting through school and what comes after. Who knows, maybe everyone in her new job will love her. At the very least, it will be a fresh start. Have you considered moving in together after school? I'm pretty introverted and don't hang out with people much, but I come home to my boyfriend every day, and that means a lot to me. I don't ever feel lonely. Opie says we do plan to move in together. I plan to propose after graduation.
Whoa.
Wow. But she doesn't have any plans for herself for after graduation, so I don't know if she'll be happy or not. Procyon says, then that's my advice to you. Stop focusing on college and focus on what comes after. She needs to start making plans. She's planning to have a career, right? Can she look into getting an internship in something related to her field? Please remind her that she'll be starting all over again after she graduates anyway. Stick it out, and then just keep trying. Opie says she's in a major she hates, so she's been avoiding everything related to after graduation. I worry about what she's going to do. She's very smart, but her major isn't right for her at all. So if she got into an industry, she'd probably hate it. Procyon says, well, she's got to figure it out eventually, so why not now? She has to work somewhere after graduating, or you're going to end up supporting her financially. Opie says, I don't mind supporting her, but I know she wouldn't like that. Procyon says, so talk to her about it. Help her make a concrete plan, then start taking steps to make it happen. Start figuring it out. Where are you guys going to live? What career path is she going to choose? What can she do now, today, to make it easier to get into that career? You say you want to help, so help her. that is going to involve the two of you actually doing something. OP says, I mean, she'll live with me. I've gotten a job and such. She already plans to move with me. But I do agree that she needs to figure out a plan for herself. She wouldn't be happy just staying at home. And that is the end of that story. I'm sad.
I want to meet this girl.
I want her to have a friend.
I will be her friend.
I'll be your friend.
I
Please.
volunteer.
I volunteer.
This is just so hard, but because it's the kind of thing where it's like you don't realize that there are so many other people that feel the same way.
Oh yeah.
Like
you feel so alone.
Yeah. But in college, it's like everyone is looking for a friend.
Yes.
Everyone is too scared to make friends and like follow through and stuff. Like, again, like we said earlier, a lot of these people probably weren't just canceling because of her. Try to find the people, if it's on the internet, so be it. Like, try to find the people that are similar to you, follow up, talk about their lives because then they feel comfortable around you and want to talk. Just keep trying. It's not over yet. Please.
Please, please, please.